Bam! Rapid music cut. How you going? I wasn't keeping an eye on the time. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Rogue Room. I am your host, the Abigail Beck, the one and only. There's no other ones. $5. It's just $7.99 a month. Okay? You could forego one meal at KFC to subscribe to me. Do it. You should, if you're watching this content on the regular. I feel like most of you who do watch my content on the regular are subbed anyway. So. KFC is yummy, it is. I haven't had it in a bit. I've been generally avoiding it, because money, mostly. But also calories, but mostly money. Findom Abbey, we could go down that route. If I could find a noble simp with a lot of money, a lot of filthy dollars in their pocket that they're willing to spend on some lowly trans girl on the internet, then I'd take it. I'd take that money. But Cat made fake KFC. I think I found a recipe once and did that too. Shallow fried fake KFC tenders, basically. They were good. They weren't great, but they were good enough. The only one you sub to, you have like 15 gift subs. Well, that seems to be the case for like a lot of people, honestly. If you hang out in enough streams, eventually you're just going to start collecting gift subs because they tend to go to people who've actually watched the stream. Hello, Ayahuasca. Oh, yeah, Ayahuasca. How do you pronounce that? How you doing, dog vacuum? What's going on? Welcome to the Rogue Room, folks. Oh, my lights aren't on. I just realized. Is that on? Yeah. Let's put it on this one. No. What are you doing? There we go. Is that the right color? Not really. We figured out... Hang on. Let's see if I can turn the brightness way up on this, because we figured out that the brightness setting actually does do something. Okay, there we go. That's the brightest that those lights can be. Ayahuasca. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's the brightest those can go. And we've had them sitting on like a low brightness for ages for some reason. And, yeah, now I've recently figured out they actually do have a setting that allows them to be brighter than normal. That kind of blew my mind. Anyway. Anywho, how are you folks going tonight? How are you folks been going the past couple of days? Because, obviously, haven't been on because it's been a weekend. Hello, Clara. How's it going? Well, make me laugh. I don't do laughing content, though. I'll take a look in a moment. I've seen this tweet about the speedrunning thing. By the way, I noticed that this guy's got the red name from Shinigami Eyes. Anyway. Tell us the brightness settings to control the brightness. Shockingly, yes. Shockingly. I didn't think they actually worked. Yeah, I only glanced at the speedrunning tweet, honestly. I didn't really look into it much deeper than looking at it. Let me fix this. Hang on. Oh my god. That's not what I wanted. I want this to be there. There we go. Because I want you to see my little light thing, which is nonsense. But the actual tweet, I saw this. I didn't really think much of it, but I was thinking about why so many in the radical left participate in speedrunning. Is that a commonly held opinion that the radical left tends to participate in speedrunning? The reason is the left's lack of work ethic, go fast rather than do it right, and in a Petersonian sense, to elevate alternative sexual archetypes in the marketplace. Speedrunning for the sex, of course. Let me fix my little blanket here that I'm sitting on. What in the world is this? This is 1 out of 14. Look at the ratio on it, Jesus. I feel like most of the people who liked this are just like they saw some words and they know of this guy and they're like, yeah, oh hang on, he's only got 648 followers. But any anti-SJW shit at all, which obviously this is going to get a lot of traction on the Bird app, which is hell. Anyway, there are exceptions to this, and some more than the center or right also speedrun. Seems like a non-thing. This is like not a thing you should be concerning yourself with. There are far better issues to worry about. However, they more than sufficient to prove the rule. What? Rather than contrast it. They more than... Okay. Consider how woke GDQ has been almost since the very beginning. Your eyes will start to open. Read the bio. Protecting what is mine. True classical liberal center-left. Pro-beauty, pro-freedom. What is pro-beauty? That's just fascist speak, basically. The moment somebody is pro-traditional beauty standards, they're basically saying they're a fascist. We're gonna have that discussion one day. Returning to the topic of work ethic, a speedrunner, quote unquote, may well spend hours a day at their craft, but this is ultimately a meaningless exercise, since they will ultimately accomplish that which is done in less collective time by a casual player. This is thus a waste of effort on the behalf of the speedrunner. Put more simply, they are spending their work effort on something that someone else has already done, and done in a way deemed correct by the creator of the artwork. Does this guy not understand how any kind of record breaking works? That's how this works. That's how this whole thing has always operated. People are always going to want to break the record, and they're going to find the best technique to do it, and that technique is going to spread throughout the community trying to break that record. This is common with anything that relates to any kind of powerlifting. There's a certain technique when you got a deadlift. You know, if you use the Anyway, no transmed bullshit. Anyway, the answer is quite obvious if you think about it. The goal is the illusion of speed and the desire subconscious to promote radical leftist, borderline communist ideals of how easy work is. What? Everyone always says that speedruns look easy. That is part of the aesthetic. No, the reason they look easy is because the people doing them have done them for so long that they make them look easy. Anyway. I think the phrase fully automated luxury communism, this has to be a bit. This has to be a bit, right? In the context of speedrunning, and I strongly suspect that things will start to click in your mind. It's got to be comedy, right? This has to be like a comedic... is this a joke? This has to be a joke. No one's taking this guy seriously, right? What happens to the individual in this? Individual accomplishment in speedrunning is simply waiting for another person to steal your techniques in order to defeat you. What? Where is something like intellectual property or patent in this necessarily communitarian process? Again, it's the same with the Guinness Book of Records. How many bees can a man swallow? There's a certain technique this guy developed to swallow as many bees as possible, and the next record breaker is going to try to swallow even more bees using the same technique. That's how this works. Now, as to the sexual archetype model and speedrunning generally, this has to be satire. It has to be. Kiara, enjoy that look. If you have any passing familiarity with Jordan Peterson's broader oeuvre, and I don't even know what that word is, and of Jungian psychology, not philosophy, you likely already know where I'm going with this. Do we have to? However, I will say more for the uninitiated. Keep this passage from Maps of Meaning 91 in mind. The archetypal sun continually reconstructs defined territory as a consequence of assimilation of the unknown, as a consequence of incestuous, that is, sexual, read creative, union with the Great Mother. Oeuvre is a body of work, okay. Am I pronouncing it correctly? I don't know. In other words, there is a connection between sexuality and creativity that we see throughout time, as Peterson points out with Tiamat and other examples. In the sexual marketplace, which archetypes are simultaneously deemed the most creative and valued the highest? At this point, I don't even care if I'm going to pronounce his words correctly. The answer is obviously entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. Yes, colonialists and slave drivers. Given that we evolved and each thing we do must have an evolutionary purpose or cause, that's not true. What archetype is the speedrunner engaged in who is accomplishing nothing? That's not true at all. We evolved and each thing we do must have an evolutionary purpose. This guy doesn't understand what evolution means. Evolution is basically a series of stupid fucking accidents that resulted in our biology changing. Anyway, they are aiming to make a new sexual archetype based upon speed rather than doing things right. He's changed the number of things. Look, 114, 214, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14. Gets close to the end here. 15. Wait, I've got more things I want to say. Refuse ownership of what few innovations they can provide to their own scene, denying creativity within their own sexual archetype. Says necessarily leftist. Yeah, fortunate accidents, but biology is basically a series of fucking accidents. Or evolutionary biology is. The obvious protest to this, it's mutations. Like, there's no inherent design to it. Would be the glitchless 100%, which in many ways does aim to play the game as intended, but seems to simply add the element of speed to the equation. This objection is ultimately meaningless, when one considers how long a game is intended to be played in net by the creators, even when under 100% conditions. There is still time and effort wasted for no reason other than the ones I proposed above. By now I am sure that I have bothered a number of you and rustled quite a few of your feathers. Oh, I rustled their jimmies. Oh, I win. I'm not saying speedrunning is bad. Then why comment this entire shtick? But rather than thinking about the topic philosophically, there's no philosophy here. This is someone pretending to know anything about philosophy. There are dangerous elements within it. An addendum for the fools. Yes, I said rustled instead of ruffled. Peterson is a thinker and it is fine to cite. Wait, gotta be horrified till you hear about actual running. Alright, let's look at this video. Hang on.
You can't catch me! I'm the fastest thing alive!
I was thinking about why so many in the radical left participate in speed running.
Huh?
The reason is the left's lack of work ethic.
What?
Go fast rather than do it right, and in a Petersonian sense,
Petersonian?
to elevate alternative sexual archetypes in the marketplace. Fastest hedgehog.
Shadow, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're a beta male, Sonic.
You can't catch me!
Cause it's fucking Shadow the Hedgehog. Yes, indeed. There we go. That's that. That's whatever. There. I finally know what the fuck that bullshit was all about. I saw that come up, and I saw people talking about it. And I'm like, I honestly don't give a fuck about speedrunning related leftist discourse, because I doubt there's much seriousness in that vein. They're people who are trying to complete a game as fast as possible. What a thing to arrive on, Forks. Welcome in. How yous going? How yous going? How yous going? Why are we doing the gender thing again, Zaxton? I have to ask the question at this point. I have to prod you about this. You have a real issue with transgender people, don't you? You seem to be one of those people who really would like to gatekeep the idea of transness, and you keep going at this. Keep seeing you pop in every now and again, asking the same bullshit questions that nobody wants to answer. You know, what's the deal? What's the issue? Why do you prod? You know? Gender is boring. Gender is a fuck. Gender is a waste of time. You're a trans-medical list. You're a trans-medical list. A list of transes? Thank you, Ziwa. That's just basically denying certain people the ability to be trans. Not to mention, okay, let's put this into perspective for a moment. There is a significant issue with getting onto hormones in the UK. Right? For anyone. There's a massive, massive waiting list to even get a consultation. There are many trans people who are unable to get on hormones as it stands right now. So basically the entry level for trans medicalists, it would be hormone therapy, right? I'm only on hormone therapy. I haven't had any surgeries or anything like that. Full disclosure, I suppose. Yeah, I still have a cock. What are you going to do about it? We playing Whack-A-Troll. The thing is, Zaxton keeps coming back with this weird thing. I don't know. They think they're trying to argue from a reasonable perspective, but they're blatantly not. Yeah, so there are a lot of trans people out there. Shockingly, girls can have vaginas. That's weird. Anyway. Hey, Erin. How you going? So yeah, let's talk about the this idea that, you know, transmedicalism basically says you can't be trans unless you are medically transitioning, which is just, you know, dismissing so much about gender. And gender isn't strictly presentation, but it's also your identity. It's inside of you. It's internal. You know, trans people are people. Yes, exactly. Trans people is just folks. I tweeted this. Trans people are just folks. And you don't need to gatekeep folks. You don't need to gatekeep people. You don't need to tell them they're not who they are. You know, that's just kind of useless. Trans, but with more steps, but also less steps, pretty much. So yeah, the main issue that I have is that, especially over in the UK, there's a huge waiting list, like years and years before people can even get a consultation to even start hormone therapy. There are a lot of people in certain parts of the world where they're being denied hormone therapy and they end up self-medicating, right? Which is another process that's ludicrously costly and all of these kinds of things. There is a difference between transsexuals and people not medically transing, but both are trans and valid. Bloodborne is a trans metaphor in the same way that The Matrix is. Yeah, honestly. There's a lot of ties you could make there. And yeah, you can go private in the UK, but it is exactly, it's pricey. It's going to set you back quite a bit. So, you know, that's one of those things of like, if you have the income, then transition becomes a privilege in certain parts of the world. You are allowed to, which is what we should be fighting back against. But still, if there is a trans person out there, whether they're a binary trans person or non-binary or agender or whatever it is, if they decide that they don't want to medically transition, it is not your responsibility to say to them, well, you're not a real trans person, are you? That's just, again, just gatekeeping. And it's unnecessary. It doesn't solve anything to tell people they're not who they are. You know. Yes, I'll say that much. Don't call me dude. Anyway. What's going on, folks? So we got through that speed running thread. That wasn't really what I was planning on covering right away, but that was something. You have a pussy. She's saying hello to her Auntie Abby. My pussy is Cheney. Cute. Minimum wait time in the UK is 4 years? Roughly, yes. I've heard as much as 6 years, maybe even more than that. Basically, it's just there's not enough resources, and there's a lot of legal gatekeeping preventing them from taking on more clientele, taking on more patients. Lots of red tape and all that kind of stuff that's preventing trans people from getting in to see someone to even prescribe hormones in the first place, to even have the possibility of signing an informed consent forms. All trans people, regardless of the stage of transition, are valid. Exactly. So I don't know why this person has kept coming in and asking these kinds of invasive questions, honestly. They started out by saying... let me see here. Let me go back. Do you think what do you think constitutes a transgender person? I saw the message at first and I didn't address it. Do you think they have to just identify as a different gender? Which, yes, that's pretty much it. Or do you think they should have to change their body somehow? So it was already like, yeah, it was a sea lining kind of thing. And they keep doing this. If you're still watching, I see what you're doing. I'm not stupid. I'm not a fucking idiot. I realize what you're doing. I've seen you do it several times now. I don't know why you keep coming back in here with the same question. A trans person is just a trans person. If someone decides to come out and start transitioning slowly, if they're in the early stages of their transition, they are still a legitimate trans person. You know? You have a ping pong troll. Anyway. So you can be like, and yes, trans is not necessarily equal transition, true. It's the suffix that means on the other side of or to. Very true, very true. I'm missing my can of Monster. This is weird. I've got my drink. I've got my VPA shaker that says Legends Never Die, which is really cool and purple and metal. But I don't have my can of Monster with my golden straw, you know. Technically, I'm trans. I was assigned female at birth, but I'm really non-binary. Yeah, exactly. So there's, you know, there's a lot of questions people are going to have, but that definitely seems like the kind of question that answers itself. The one that was asked earlier. Like, no, if you are trans, period. If you are a person who intends to transition in any way, and like you are out or whatever, and you can be a trans person who's in the closet, you know, whose egg has cracked, but they're not able to safely transition in the current social environment they live in. They're still a valid trans person. Oh, hello. Thank you kindly. Look, I have a drink with a straw. Whammon. Anyway, oh, Clara redeemed some hugs. Hold on a moment. Hold on. She got me this shirt, by the way. Do you like it? It's a Dark Souls shirt. Oh, yeah. Understandable. Isn't she the best? Big girl straw. I got a big girl straw. It's metal. There was a hand. There was a mystery hand. Oh, and headbats. Thank you. Anyway, so in love with you two, being in love and being happy and squee. Look at this. Look at my fucking hair. I fucked it up. Hang on. Transitioning is ultimately just about having fun. Heck yeah. I'm just having fun transitioning. That's all I'm doing. It's the only reason I'm doing it. Kind of blows my mind sometimes that I finally did it. That's wild to me at times. you know? It's like, I have sat on this for like half my life. Spent $89 on pants in the name of transitioning. Perfectly valid. I'm glad I'm happy. Thank you. I'm glad I'm happy too. It's good. It's good shit. It's good shit. It's been a vibe, honestly. I was thinking, should we look at some memes tonight? I was thinking that could be a thing. Like, we're not gonna do a lot of memes, but we'll take a look at some memes. You know. You want to come out to your family now? It's a tricky thing, right? I was really anxious about it, which was weird because I had no reason to believe any of my family would have been unaccepting, and surprise, surprise, they're not unaccepting. That's not the right word for it. They haven't rejected me for being trans. They've been totally on board with it, which is wild, you know. Got a question, feel like it's really personal. It's up to you to answer that or you won't. Feel like an idiot. I'm into people that I like. Into boys or girls, into people I like, basically. Nervously sweats in $90 coat and $280 dress. I've got an outfit that costs about $300, $400 in my wardrobe that I never wear. It's a really cute outfit. I'm gonna have to wear it out one night. Now that I've moved my next vaccine shot up to early next month, so I can now formally start working towards actually getting back out into the world. You know, that'll be good. I'm gonna try to socialize in the not too distant future. Went to Lowe's and the shirts were all my bright colors, and then there was bright pink pants for $89. True. The choker? What about the choker? Are you into men, women, or non-binary people? Me, a pansexual. Yes. You went for a run. Good. We like to hear it. Good. Cardio is good. Double vax in Abbey in mid-December. I can come to Queensland without quarantining. I'm still sketchy on going anywhere, honestly. Like, I'm still worried about, you know, the idea of travel just yet. Hello, Sammy. How's it going? Phage, I'm the same. I wish I could afford all the clothing I want. That would be nice. You think I'm going to get my septum pierced like this? This bit? You could come and paint New South Wales maroon, yeah. No, we're not doing cryptics. Hello, Pit Princess. How's it going? Yeah, when am I getting my next vaccine shot? I'm getting it on the 8th of November. Was it the 8th? I think it was the 8th. Yeah. And that's about 6 weeks apart from my first shot. So that'll be good. That'll give me the ability to go to the shops and stuff. Still wear a mask, still social distance and all that. At the moment, I can only go for groceries, basically. Which sucks. You like my shirt? It's a good shirt, isn't it? Girlfriend got me this one. It says you died. She knows me. She knows I like Dark Souls. What's the difference between a bisexual and a pansexual? I'm going to say this from the outside looking in. I don't think there's actually a difference. I think generally speaking, the term bisexual says, or like the term bisexual seems like it was generally coined when broader social concepts of gender were pretty binary. So I think a lot of people had this idea of like, oh, there's men and women, and some people are attracted to men and women, and thus they're bisexual, you know, whereas heterosexual meaning one, meaning attracted to the opposite, heterosexual meaning attracted to the same, bisexual being sort of like in, you know, I like both. But I think generally speaking, yeah, pan is just bi plus. Pan is bi new game plus, basically. Like, now that we have a broader understanding of gender and presentation and identity and all these kind of things, there was kind of a need for a new label, I suppose. So, yeah, I think a lot of people do use bi and pan interchangeably, honestly. You're non-binary and you're attracted to more than two genders. Yeah, exactly. I think I generally consider myself pan, but attracted to feminine people, if that makes sense. If they're, like, let's just say I wasn't in a relationship and there happened to be a feminine guy who I was interested in, I would pursue that. I wouldn't pursue a masculine man, though. Sapphic pan, then that might be it, yes. But then, like, we get into labels, and I just end up with, this is why I keep things simple. I'm a lesbian. I'm a lesbian. That's it. That you know, pansexual is when you're kitchen cook. Breed the femboys. Yes, breed femboys. Hate having to keep explaining to people about asexuality. What? How do you live without the horny? I know, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? This comes back around to the thing that I've been going on about for ages now, about how media representation basically enforces heterosexuality. But the moment you put a gay relationship in a movie, people freak out about it like you're trying to go woke. You know, like, and the reality is they've been forcing sexuality into everything, including children's movies, forever, to encourage heterosexuality as the default, as like there's no other option, right? So, you know, a lot of people have this perception that if you are anyone, you're going to be sexually attracted to someone. And a lot of people don't even think of the idea that someone might not even experience sexual attraction. Sway my fist and go, ooh, you made sex joke, Ethan. Horny is a rather personal experience. No two people would feel horny the same, even the physical sensation, yeah. Bambi was horny as fuck. Finding love is something society tells you you need to do to be satisfied, but IRL you can be fulfilled without sex. Exactly. I think there are a lot of things I find satisfaction in that are not at all sexual, not at all romantic, you know. And I think this is where a lot of people get stuck, perhaps, is, I was thinking about this earlier, how many relationships I have observed. And it's so many relationships I have observed where the participants of said relationship just don't like each other. It's such a common thing, and I was just thinking about, honestly, Maddie and I get along tremendously. Am I allowed to call you Maddie on street? Okay. I wasn't sure if I already asked this or not. Yeah, hi Ziwa / Maddie. Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier. It's like, I can't picture us fighting. I can't picture us having such a tremendous disagreement or being so irritated by each other's habits or any of that kind of shit. Why am I so low, by the way? Hang on. That's why. With an IE, yeah, Maddie with an IE. Yeah, I can't picture, and this is a weird thing. It's like, I've seen so many people in long-term relationships and short-term relationships and things of that nature where they just go at each other all the time. Every tiny little thing becomes a nitpick on one party or the other, you know, and I'm like, why are you two together? You can't stand each other. It's usually couples. Let's be honest, it's usually straight couples. And I think the reason that that's such a problem, again, purely from the power of observation here, is that, you know, they feel compelled to get into a relationship probably because they just hooked up one time and thought, I know, society tells me I need a boyfriend / girlfriend. I fucked this person, might as well ask them if they want to stay together. I think that's just a pretty common thing that happens. And in some circumstances, people fall into these, a method of domestication where they end up partnering, living together, maybe having children. Then they end up in careers or whatever it is that they're doing, and most of their time is taken up, and they don't really have any time alone together to process all the issues they do have, which spirals into worsening of those issues. Yes, relationships, they fucking suck, but I like the one I'm in. So, you know, most relationships fucking suck. Shit like that is how an abusive relationship happens, and it's so common. This is honestly most of the relationships I've observed in my life. Very, very infrequently have I seen a happy relationship. When I see it, when I observe it, I'm like, these two are getting along, they're not fighting, they're not bickering, they're not nitpicking at every little thing. It's shocking to me. It's absolutely stunning to me because, like, it harkens back to that, excuse me, it harkens back to the old shtick of stand-up comedy. Yeah, that's a topic. We could maybe look at the follow-up to the Chappelle thing in a moment. But, how, you know, the old wife bad stand-up routine? Oh man, I can't stand my wife, she's such a bitch. Basically. She doesn't do the dishes and she doesn't drive because women can't drive. I don't fucking know. The old ball and chain. Comedy is bad. Comedy sucks. Cancel stand-up comedy. The person who released the Chappelle cast versus the Parasite cast got fired. Yes, I saw that. Did I see the trans comic you put on Discord? I did not, but I'll have a look. In the Inconsolables Discord or in mine? Cancel Taco Bell. Not until I've actually tried it. Okay, I like quasi-Mexican food. I want to try Taco Bell before we cancel it completely. I've heard it's not good, but I still want to try it. Also, I really want to go get some... Oh, Guzmany Gomez is amazing. I want to go get some Mad Mex. That's a chain here in Australia. Mad Mex is good. There is one not too far from me, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to go get it. Because I'm only single vaxxed. I'm one of those plebeians. Anyway. Never heard of Mad Mex. They're good. They're good. I'm pretty sure they're an Aussie-based chain. I don't know what Guzmany Gomez is. I've had a Porto. Yeah, I like a Porto. A Porto's good. It's food. Maybe that's the thing that we should do, Maddie. Maybe we should go get Mad Mex. There's a thought. Wife bad. I hate phone. Father, I can't click the book. They're all the boomer jokes. Oh, fuck. The whole, what's it called? Get off of my lawn shtick, the stereotype of old people. It's so fucking true. I say this with someone whose 80-plus-year-old grandfather is a communist. You know, so he's pretty based. You know. Father, I only respond to king. The choker is sick. Ziwa, do you have a link to yours? No? I can't remember where I got mine. I think I got mine on Shein. I'm not sure, but yeah. Pardon? Oh, on Amazon. Yeah. Just look up, like, heart choker or something. Yeah, it's a pretty common one. I want to get another one. There's one that's got, like, a pink strap. George Carlin was based. Jimmy Carr is funny, but I cannot for the life of me stand his fucking laugh. I just cannot with Jimmy Carr's laugh. Holy shit. Worst laugh in the world. Oh no, I forgot to do the thing. I wanted to, like, I just saw my Discord link pop up. And if you're not already in the Discord, go ahead and join there. It's a fun place. But Broken, there you go. I'm reminded of the fact that I've recorded a little advert that's like, you know, if you're enjoying the show, please subscribe and all that. And I wanted to play that every so often. You know, like, comment, well, no, not like, comment, subscribe. But, you know, subscribe here on Twitch, subscribe on Patreon, tip on coffee, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Pardon? Yeah, sub off Twitch, hashtag sub off Twitch. You can do whatever you want. Just know that if you give me your $7.99 with a Twitch sub, I'm only going to get half of that, which sucks. And not even half of that, less than half of that, I think. Have I seen Cat's ad when they have I have seen it, yeah. I just want to have like a little clip that I can play every now and again that is like, you know, reminding people to sub and all that kind of thing. Because I do this shit for basically free. No one's paying me for this. Unless you folks want to. I have coffee, which... That's supposed to have a notification ping, but it doesn't seem to work. I don't know. Lip has redeemed hugs. I should get hugs. Oh, hang on. You can be in the shot now, because you... Yeah. There we go. We get hugs. Oh, God. You cracked my back. There we go. Take money from Bezos and his space dildo. We get hugs. Good hugs. Seriously, why did the spaceship look like a dildo? What was that about? I mean, I know why they made it look like a cock. But like they could have been a little subtle. They could have been a little bit more subtle with it. But they just legitimately made it look like a cock. It's just a cock. Like, it's just a cock. Look at it. Look up Blue Origin Shuttle and tell me this is not a penis. That is a penis. There is no other way to refer to that thing. That is a cock that they've made. They've made a vibrator. Seriously, like, Amazon needs to get, like, a... Amazon has the money, right? Yeah, they've got... There is a model you can buy. Wait, what? Yes, look, anything's a vibrator. Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough. Someone needs to. Someone, like, just... Should stop talking about this before I get banned. Anyway, Jeffrey is a dick. Jeffrey Bezos. A sausage in space, yeah. More like the blue balls. At least they didn't make the thrusters look like testicles. I mean, they could have gone that way. Belle Delphine. What's happening with her? I haven't heard anything about Belle Delphine lately. That would have been a perfect opportunity for her, honestly. With a flared base. Exactly. It's for penetrating the sky. I'm going to space and I'm going to fuck it, said Jeffrey Bezos. She's just existing. I mean, she was making a ton of money. There's like... I think she's probably just made enough to retire off and she's like, yeah, that's good enough. Fuck it, I'm going. I would. If I figured out whatever it was that would make me like a bunch of millions of dollars really quickly, I'd make that money and then I'd just dip. Yes, she's doing OF. Last I checked, she was doing OF. And I mean, if she's making enough money doing OF, then more power to her. Did I see how Bezos acted after landing? I think so. I can't remember. All I know is they're sending William Shatner to space next, which is kind of funny. Well, not even to space. This is what's hilarious. He didn't even break the atmosphere. Jeff Bezos didn't even go to space. He just went up a bit. He went up more than like a normal plane and then they came back down again. He didn't go to space. They were in orbit. Just do the Ahegao face. The border of space is arbitrary. Well, yeah, true. I'm pretty sure they were still in atmosphere though. They weren't like outside of atmosphere of the planet. But yeah, it was dumb. It was a very dumb thing. Anyway. And like you can't look at this and not think it's a colossal dick measuring contest, because that's all it is. Between Bezos, Branson, and Musk. 100 kilometers or something? Yeah. Oh, Bezos is definitely cartoonishly evil. Yeah, exactly. He's eaten people. I can tell you right now, Jeff Bezos is a cannibal. Ooh. Everyone, I want you to clap for my GF. She made the cube. What? She made the cube. She did it. Bezos is the IRL Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor if he ate people. I'm telling you, Jeff Bezos knows how to cook and eat human. He does. He prepares it. He seasons it. Cooks it to perfection. He likes his liver medium rare, you know. With some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Death's Head from Wolfenstein. Here we go. Yeah, I can see it. Dude does look a bit like Jeff Bezos. Nazi Jeff Bezos. At some point I should go back to Wolfenstein. There we go. That's a better picture. Wilhelmstrasse. Anyway. Prime has 2 separate shows about how Superman is evil. I know. That can't be a coincidence, right? I love how they've tried to take, like, honestly, I used to hate Superman by the virtue of he's that superhero that's virtually unbeatable, and the only way he has any chance of losing a fight is if his opponent is just obscenely powerful or has his one weakness. And, like, I never liked him on strictly a power level design concept. I didn't like that. Once I realized that Superman is more than that, Superman is more of his values and his morals and all those kind of things, I gained a little bit more respect for the character, honestly. So it's rather amusing. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with the idea of, like, let's adapt the Superman character. What if he was a villain? What if he was more evil? And yeah, like what we've got is Amazon producing The Boys, which is one look at that idea. And then there's another one. What's the other one? Pardon? Invincible. Yeah. There we go. So yeah. Oh, I knew that already. I knew that. Anyway, fixing my hair up, which didn't work. I can't get my hair to sit straight. I need to start using, like, Superman's weakness, a green rock. Fucking hell, dude. I can't get my hair to sit how I want it to. There we go. That'll do. Someone with nothing about me is straight. No, not even my hair. What happened to your message? I don't know. What happened, homonyms? What did you... Hang on. I can do this. Use a homonyms. Ha ha ha. What message? I don't know. I've seen all of these messages that you've posted. Everything you posted tonight, I've seen, at least in your thing, in your user history. So yeah, it's fine. There's multiple colors of kryptonite. There we go. I don't really fuck with comics, honestly, though. Too much energy involved. I have housework to do. That's sad. That's honestly sad. The fact that I'm actually watching shows lately, if you can believe it. If you can believe it, I finished Avatar: The Last Airbender, got most of the way through Legend of Korra. Now we're watching Hannibal. I think the plan is next to continue Squid Game past the first 2 episodes, which is I don't like the dub. I really don't like the dub. Enjoy my coffee. Ooh. See, like, where's the alert? Hang on. Where's the alert? Kez, thank you for that. Thank you for giving me all that yummy coffee. Thank you for giving me all that yummy coffee. And also, video games from a certain person. It's just the easiest way to send me money, apparently. Turn the fucking frogs gay. No. We did this already. They weren't turning the frogs gay. They were turning them trans. They were putting estradiol in the water. And the frogs were transitioning. Anyway. You have to watch Squid Game subbed. Yeah, I think I'm going to. Because, like, the dub honestly just throws me. Like, watching the actors saying one thing and different words coming out. Yeah, which is, it's amusing, yeah, like, they've got these, well, I mean, honestly, their accents aren't hyper-Americanized, I would say. Some of them are, but they did use legit Asian, I think they did use legit Korean and Pacific Islander voice actors. I think is what they said. They purposefully mistranslated stuff. Why would they purposefully translate it? The subs are botched, like, legit. That's weird, I wonder why. It's kind of disappointing, honestly. And it might be one of the reasons I sort of lost interest. Well, I lost interest at first. I do want to continue it, I think. But I'm not sure yet. So, I am generous with Alex Jones. Why do I give Alex Jones the benefit of the doubt? It doesn't benefit anybody for me to give him the benefit of the doubt. He is fucking stupid. But here's a fun thing. This happened recently. Steven Crowder suspended from YouTube for hate speech. The story he was pushing is fake. Let me just quickly hang on. So yeah, this happened recently. If I recall correctly, yeah, the misinfo came from an anti-trans group. He was basically trying to push this idea. I don't think he got banned. I think he got a strike. But he was trying to push this idea that a trans woman went into a women's prison and knocked up another prisoner or something like that, and none of it was correct. None of the information was correct, and he went as far as to employ Alex Jones to do a sketch implying that a very masculine-looking dude wearing a wig, standing up and pissing over in the corner of the cell in the toilet, you know, sharing a cell with a very more traditionally feminine woman. Alex Jones is like, that man is going to continue raping you. Like, it was a whole thing. It was a really just absurd thing that they went full ball with this, and it was completely wrong. And as far as I know, he got suspended for it. Conservative YouTuber Steven Crowder is once again waging war with YouTube. On Wednesday night, the internet personality announced on his Twitter account that the channel had received a hard strike for a segment YouTube says targets the transgender community. This means Crowder is suspended from uploading new content or live streaming on YouTube for 1 week. Okay, so wow, this is terrifying. We covered specific documented instances of rape YouTube says not allowed. All parents should take note. Why should parents take note? You were talking about prisons. If you believe the insane notion of biological sex, you will be silenced. More to come. Fight like hell. This is some Stephen Gross and thick skin shit. Anyway. We write again on YouTube's behalf. Let me open this in another tab so we can... We write again on YouTube's behalf regarding your client Steven Crowder. YouTube has repeatedly instructed Mr. Crowder regarding its hate speech policy and warned him against continuing violations of that policy through content he uploaded to YouTube. YouTube specifically informed Mr. Crowder that videos he uploaded showed a pattern of recklessly targeting the LGBTQ+ community for abuse and insults. It warned that further uploading of content that targets, insults, and/or abuses the LGBTQ+ community would result in additional penalties. On September 30, Mr. Crowder uploaded yet another video that has... September 30, sorry. I forgot what month it was for a second. Uploaded another video that YouTube has determined continues his prior conduct. The video entitled Special Guest Alex Jones on Great Reset, oh fucking yikes, and Joe Rogan triggers leftists again. How many capital words do you need? Just one per title is enough. Contains a segment that targets the transgender community in an offensive manner, for example by indicating that trans people pose a rape threat to women. Hello, Bun. How you doing? Consistent with the recklessness provisions of its hate speech policy... YouTube has removed this video from the service and assessed a strike against the Steven Crowder channel. Per YouTube strikes policy, this results in a 1-week upload freeze for the channel. Further violation of YouTube's hate speech policy will result in additional penalties. And I'm covering this bit, so I'll just read it. One additional note, when an account is restricted from using YouTube features, the channel operator is prohibited from using any other channel to get around the applicable restrictions. When he was suspended last time, he's got an alternate channel that he was uploading to. This is the reason they're probably making him aware of this. Your client may not use another YouTube channel, such as the Crowderbits channel, that's the one I was talking about, to bypass the upload restrictions on the Steven Crowder channel. Such conduct may subject all of his channels to termination. Very truly yours, such and such, counsel for YouTube. So there's that bit, right? And yeah, there's a bunch of people defending him, of course. YouTube out here doing God's work. YouTube, may I remind you that you're a platform, not a publisher, so this behavior is not actually legal or permissible, being that you have no responsibility for what people like Steven cover on their channel, which is facts and documented things. So best bet, revoke this strike. This behavior is perfectly good and legal and very cool, actually. Anyway, let's read the rest of the article here. Wow, this is terrifying, tweeted Crowder. And then there's all that bit. And I like documented instances of rape, which was falsified from an anti-trans hate group, which we'll get into. Crowder was referring to a segment he did alleging that a transgender person in a women's prison sexually assaulted and impregnated a fellow inmate in California. In January, a state law known as SB 132 that allows transgender people to be placed in an incarceration facility that is consistent with their gender identity went into effect. However, no one in California's women's prisons has become pregnant while in custody, according to a California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation spokesperson, CDCR. There are pregnant inmates in CDCR custody, I want to say territory, but they were pregnant when they were admitted to state prison, said Terry Thornton, Deputy Press Secretary of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Did I already say said? Anyway, said in a statement provided to Mashable. Thornton reiterated no one became pregnant while incarcerated as a result of the implementation of SB 132. Mashable reached out to Crowder for comment via the press inquiry form on his website, but did not get a response prior to publishing. Hello, Smelly Cat. How you going? Do I still hate fat people? When was that a thing? I mean, that might have been something years and years ago when I was a much more shitty person, but no. The disproved claim repeated by Crowder in a September video had been making the viral rounds for months prior. In August, PolitiFact debunked a viral Instagram post that was sharing the same misinformation. Crowder said a group called the Women's Liberation Front, or WOLF, reported the alleged incident. The group had tweeted in July that they had heard from 7 different people inside the facility that this assault had occurred. They had heard from people inside the facility. I imagine it's not easy to get like actual testimony from people inside the prison unless you have some reason, some legitimate reason to talk to them, right? The Women's Liberation Front is made up of anti-trans activists opposed to gender identity and transgender rights legislation. And what I mean by that is like, it's probably like unless you're family or unless you're actual press or a lawyer or something like that, you can't just like talk to people in prison randomly, can you? I don't know. I don't know the specifics around that. Anyway. Staffers at women's prisons have been spreading transphobic comments since SB 132 took effect, according to news reports. One inmate told the Los Angeles Times in April, "They say we're going to need a facility that's going to be like a maternity ward. Currently, there are 21 transgender people in women's prisons, according to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation." Yeah, you can have visitors, but don't they have to be like... Don't they have to have a valid reason to visit? You know. You're going to go to bed? Radio Kez, have a good one. It is always a good time having you hang out here. While YouTube has policies against spreading misinformation on its platform, it's unclear if the company was aware that Crowder repeated a debunked claim in his video. According to YouTube, Crowder's suspension is due to the rhetoric used in the video, which violated its hate speech policies. "We removed content from and issued a strike to the Steven Crowder channel for violating our hate speech policy through repeated targeting of the LGBTQ+ community," said YouTube spokesperson Ivy Choi in a statement provided to Mashable. "Hate speech is not allowed on YouTube, and in some cases we remove content or issue other penalties such as a strike when a creator..." I started out with COM, like competitor, I don't know. I was going to say another word. "Repeatedly targets, insults, and abuses a protected group based on attributes such as sexual orientation or gender identity and expression across multiple uploads," which he has well done. He's done that on numerous occasions. He's dressed up as a woman on several occasions to both make fun of women and to make fun of trans people. I think Crowder's got some deeper seated issues. In the segment, Crowder and his producers make transphobic remarks such as referencing male genitalia when discussing transgender women. The segment also includes a comedy sketch which parodies the Immaculate Conception, of course. In the sketch, an angel portrayed by conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, who was permanently banned from YouTube in 2018. I wonder if that played a part, actually. Because he's not allowed to upload at all. Oh, actually, no, you know what? Somebody did make the point recently. People banned on YouTube are allowed to appear in other people's content. It's not like on Twitch, where if you get banned on Twitch, you're not even allowed to appear on another person's stream. Not even like as a voice in the background. Appears before an actor playing the Virgin Mother. Jones tells the actor that her cellmate, played by... Oh, that was played by Crowder. Fuck, I didn't notice that. I've seen the clip. For once, I've actually seen the video of something they're talking about. And described by Jones as a guy dressed as a woman is going to rape her. Being banned from YouTube for a week is obviously a big deal for a major full-time creator who hosts daily content. YouTube has a 3-strike system on its platform where the first strike, as Crowder recently received, results in a 1-week suspension. A second strike equals a 2-week suspension, and a third strike means that the YouTube user's channel is completely terminated. Oh god, please, that'd be hilarious. Crowder is no stranger to running afoul of YouTube's content policies. Over the years, the conservative comedian has faced numerous suspensions for breaking the platform's rules on harassment and hate speech. And here's a flex for you. We might as well. Oh, there we go. The lighting is... I think the lighting's too bright at the moment. Hang on. Let me do something. Yeah, comedian in air quotes. There we go. My lighting was too harsh. And now you can actually see a bit of muscle definition. Cool. Anywho. Comedian. Anyway. Crowder received 2 prior strikes this year, the first in March for breaking YouTube's policies on COVID-19 misinformation and the second in May for harassment. However, according to YouTube's rules, the channel strikes reset after a 90-day period, so Crowder's most recent strike is only considered strike 1. I wonder if there would be an extreme enough example where they would consider changing that concept. Anyway, but in March this year, YouTube also dealt out a more permanent punishment for violating its policies on election misinformation and indefinitely demonetized his YouTube channel. So yeah, now he's basically, I think he's basically making money off his own merch subs and whatever else, off Mug Club. You pay $99 to become a member of Mug Club, and they send you a mug. They send you a Steven Crowder mug, and it's like a yearly annual subscription or some shit. $99 fucking dollars. Jesus. What'd you say? In his tweet and on his... Oh yeah, following his YouTube suspension, he announced he was going to sue YouTube over its vague policies. In his tweet and on his website, Crowder published a screenshot of an email from YouTube's legal counsel that was sent to his legal representative, William Richmond. The letter explains that YouTube removed the September episode of Crowder's daily show, Louder with Crowder, which was titled... yeah, we already read that bit. For a segment... Yeah, we read that bit as well. On Thursday's episode of Louder with Crowder, which was streamed on Crowder's Rumble channel... What's Rumble? The host claimed that YouTube created a separate set of rules to punish him. Donald Trump Jr.'s new favorite online video platform. Of course they have to have their own fucking YouTube. Jesus Christ. They got to have their own Twitter. Fucking... They got to have... This is funny. These are the people who are constantly going on about how the left lives in echo chambers, and then what do they go and do? Anyway. Does the mug stop functioning if you stop the subscription? Yeah, I bet it does. Anyway. Where were we? Hang on. Rumble is Pornhub for conservatives. Hey, Izzy, how's it going? Here's the thing, Crowder opines. It's not a strike against the channel, to be clear. It's a strike against me, Steven Crowder. Yeah, because the channel's called Steven Crowder, you dickhead. It's still a strike against the channel. Because you named the channel after you. At that point, Steven Crowder becomes the brand. It is a strike against the channel, but it's also a strike against you, the person, the brand, everything. She said 3 strikes and he just dies. YouTube strikes are now lethal force. If you break the if you set your YouTube channel to your username, which means I shouldn't break TOS. If you set your YouTube channel to your name and you get 3 strikes, it's just a death sentence apparently. If you die on YouTube, you die in real life. In my case, it has been very clearly communicated several times. No, it's you. You, the human, are not allowed on the platform, regardless of channels that haven't violated the policy. He continued referring to the section in YouTube's email where it stressed that the suspension on his main channel meant he could not upload to his secondary channels either. Yeah, it's a target against the brand. Which, yeah, Crowder has made himself the brand. That's his own fault. However, YouTube's public page on community guidelines clearly states this is the rule for everybody. If your account has been turned off or restricted from using any YouTube features, you're prohibited from using another channel to get around these restrictions. It's the same on Twitch. States YouTube's policy page, emphasis added. This applies for as long as the restriction remains active on your account. Violation of this restriction is considered circumvention under our terms of service and may result in termination of your account. So, there we have that. That's a fun little bit of stuff, isn't it? What do we think? What do we reckon's going to happen? I think this is what's amusing. He got 2 strikes before, right? He got 2 strikes previously. And then, he sort of, I feel like this is honestly the kind of thing where it's like he has to be doing this on purpose, right? Because he got, Crowder received 2 prior strikes this year, the first in March, second in May. But since May, 90 days have passed. So he's said to himself, I feel like he's very, very well aware of what's going on here. He's very well informed about how this is playing out. So he's waiting for that 90-day period before he will push that boundary again. So his channel is already indefinitely demonetized, but honestly, I think he's got enough income coming in from other sources that's not a worry. He's one of those people that's funded by oil billionaires or something like that. Anyway, he's a conservative commentator. He's got money. He doesn't need YouTube ad revenue. But yeah, like he's had 2 strikes, but he's aware of that 90-day waiting period. Like if the strikes reset after 90 days, so he'll wait, or he'll probably try to get a second one soon. He'll probably try to push that boundary just a little bit too far again soon. Get a second strike, get another 2 weeks off or whatever it is. And then he'll ease off a bit. He'll just be like, let's just play it safe. Let's, And then sometime in sometime early next year, he'll do another big controversial thing that'll get him in the news like this again. Might come as a shock, but it's what's happening out there. Oh, we're talking about prison. Okay. Might result in termination. He's one of the people that makes me glad to be alive in this hellscape. Because he really justifies me complaining to people how shit everything is. Wasn't Steven Crowder in favor of 3-strike laws that give life sentences for being convicted of felonies 3 separate times in the state of Florida? Why are you backing off your position now, Steven? Yeah, exactly. And it's not like Crowder wouldn't be able to get some kind of other position in media. If he lost his YouTube channel permanently, he'd be able to move on to some other platform, I guarantee you. He'd be going on to some other platform. He would have a place on like Fox News or something. I don't fucking know. He would like if he loses his YouTube channel, and this is the thing I'm going to speculate on, is like if he goes far enough to get 3 strikes and gets his account terminated, he's got the cancel culture narrative to fall back on. He'll publish a book or some other bullshit, and all of his little lapdogs will eat it up. You know, all of his little sycophants will cackle with glee as they found another avenue with which to monetize. So, you know, no matter what, like his complaining about this kind of shit is nonsensical and is just what's the term I'm looking for here? Like he's just perpetuating the narrative that he's under some kind of oppression here. He's under some kind of persecution by virtue of making harassing and willfully bigoted content towards a marginalized minority, and then daring to say, oh, you know, this is YouTube suppressing my free speech. You know, you got some lightheaded fucks here. What are you talking about? What have I missed? Yeah, there's 1,000 monkeys writing it for. True. 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 typewriters will publish Steven Crowder's magnum opus. I think somebody, I don't know how exactly they would have disproved this, but basically the whole 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 typewriters will eventually, you know, recreate the works of Shakespeare. Somebody disproved that concept. I don't know how they did. I think it was always just a thought experiment. Anyway, don't bicker in my chat, please, or I'll have to smack you. So yeah, I did see the little video. I'm not going to show it, because I don't want to get into any trouble. But yeah, like, I'm surprised they didn't go any deeper into this particular point. The group called the Women's Liberation Front reported the alleged incident. The WOLF, so it's WOLF. The Women's Liberation Front is WOLF, WOLF, is made up of anti-trans activists. Oh, piss off. Hang on. Let me go new private window so I can get around this. Conservative group hosts anti-transgender panel of feminists from the left. This is the problem. This is one of the issues. It's like these people would love to claim that they are on the left, and yet they are desperately fighting against trans rights. So this is from back in 2019. The Conservative Heritage Foundation, which has long advocated against queer rights, hosted a panel in Washington on Monday titled "The Inequality of the Equality Act: Concerns from the Left." Okay. But instead of highlighting the left's opposition to the Equality Act, which seeks to add queer protections to federal civil rights laws, all 4 panelists had one thing in common: they opposed transgender rights. And you'll see this crop up more and more, honestly. Yes, if you two are going to bicker, take it to your DMs, please. Don't fill the chat with it. Because when you do that, you're just making my stream look bad. Anyway, making the community look bad. If gender identity becomes a protected class in federal civil rights law, there will be serious negative consequences. So this kind of shit, the increase in those identifying as transgender, he added, has become an epidemic. It's a whole thing. Like, it's honestly kind of shocking how many times it took me to hit that fucking just chatting button on my stream deck. No, it's honestly hilarious. When you keep seeing turf rhetoric day in, day out, you begin to realize how often they're just cycling it over and over again once every 3 to 6 weeks. It's the same narratives over and over and over again. Anyway. Do not take these people as leftists. They're mentally deficient cunts. They're transphobic. They're misogynistic. They're ableist too in some circumstances. Yes, exactly. It reminds me of that thing we watched recently about the abortion, progressives against abortion union or whatever it was. How it was a bunch of, and this is what's the most hilarious thing, is like it had to be, it almost comes across as like a parody video made by conservative attempted comedians. Right? Like the whole video, it's a bunch of people talking about their identities. I'm a black person. I'm a queer person. I'm bisexual. I'm against abortion. I'm a transgender and I don't like abortions. They were trying desperately to make that like the whole thing. I'm a Muslim. That's all it was. Like the entire video was like a solid... What was it, like a minute and a half? 2 minutes? of just them with this like slow melodic music playing in the background, with them going on about their identities, and then they come around to the fact that they're all against abortion. Abortion is wrong. It's killing babies. And it was just like, it's that kind of shit. Like, they're pretending to be left to try to honestly, and this is actually very dangerous in terms of like legitimate leftist discourse. This is dangerous because it portrays a certain image to people who are not as informed over what counts as a leftist, and I would dare say most people who are on the left are aware of what being a leftist is. But of course, we've seen a lot of bickering over what counts as a leftist and what doesn't, which makes it easier for people to infiltrate and do these fucking psyops on us and try to coerce people into more conservative perspectives because, oh, those people are progressives, those people are leftists, clearly I must agree with them. But it's, yeah, I'm a woman and I don't like abortion. The very simple answer to that is, so fucking what, you cunt, yeah. And that was the entire video, was that appeal to emotion. Excuse me. It was that appeal to, like, these are real people, and this is what real people believe. And it's just stupid. It was stupid. Anyway, don't like abortions? Don't get one. Exactly. There's legitimately, other than an attempt to restrict the rights of people who can give birth, there's no legitimate reason to ban abortion. There's none. There's just none. Because all that's going to happen is if you criminalize abortion, it's going to force people to getting more dangerous abortions instead of getting the ones in clinics where it's safer and sterile and sanitary, you know, as opposed to synthetic people. Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, shall we move on? That was a whole separate topic, you know. I recorded the Steven Crowder bit. But yeah, anyway. Don't like abortions, then abort the abortion, pretty much. Abort. Okay. Well, that was that. Should we talk about the Netflix thing? Hang on. What was it? What were we doing? Hang on. Let me just change the title quickly. Synthetic people. Have you been looking at my Twitter? And after that, you get people start to wonder why why the left gatekeeps. Well, some people really do it, making the whole stuff even more infuriating. Yeah, exactly. Many people say I'm not a leftist, which I don't care about, like I'm a sock dem. So if you want a more accurate label, maybe call me an economic interventionist or something. Strict laws make more sophisticated criminals. Exactly. Alright, let's talk about this thing that happened relatively recently, a couple days ago. That, you know, I wasn't live to talk about this. But, you know, we've had the discussion around the hang on. If you don't know, ask. Okay. We had the discussion about Chappelle last week. I still haven't watched the special. I'm still not going to watch the special because I have no interest in it. I just think it's a dangerous thing to platform transphobic voices. Anyway. This is a little interesting development on top of that. Netflix fires employee trans activist for allegedly leaking internal documents. The worker has encouraged trans employees to protest the company's release of Dave Chappelle's show in which he made anti-trans jokes. Netflix has fired an employee organizer for allegedly leaking internal documents as the fallout over offensive comments in the new Dave Chappelle special stand-up special continues. The streaming platform has confirmed to The Guardian on Friday it had fired the employee whose name has not been released for sharing confidential and commercially sensitive information outside the company. The company said the decision came after a Bloomberg story reported data from an anonymous internal source that showed the Chappelle show's calculated impact value was less than the $24.1 million it cost to make it. The cost and impact data for other shows was also leaked, including Squid Game, its most popular series, which cost $21.4 million. Excuse me. We understand this employee may have been motivated by disappointment and hurt with Netflix, but maintaining a culture of trust and transparency is core to our company. Yeah, sure it is. Frustration over the company's release of the Chappelle special, in which a comedian makes a series of anti-trans jokes about gender-neutral pronouns and the genitalia of trans people, has sparked unprecedented leaks from incensed employees, the Bloomberg story said. The close's backlash for being transphobic is part of its marketing campaign, just like J.K. Rowling stunts were marketing for her new book. It definitely feels like that way. It feels like that a lot of the time, honestly. Like, the sheer fact that he immediately jumped down this... he immediately got on the megaphone and started screeching, I'm cancelled, I love the fact that I'm cancelled. It's obviously a whole big thing to just make more money, honestly. A friendly reminder that the Chappelle specials on Netflix actually lost money getting made, but Chappelle made money. Netflix might have lost money, but Chappelle made money. And given that it's bringing more attention to the platform, which is going to bring more subscribers to the platform, they're probably going to end up continuing to work with him on this, as far as I'm aware. Chappelle has previously been criticized for his comments attacking the trans community in earlier comedy specials. The employee who was fired Friday is currently pregnant and has been a lead figure in encouraging trans employees and allies to walk out of work in protest, a report from The Verge said. In the face of increasing backlash, Netflix has repeatedly doubled down on its support of the special. In multiple internal memos, co-CEO Ted Sarandos dismissed criticisms of the special and defended Netflix's decision to release it. The company also suspended a trans worker who tweeted criticism of the special before reversing the suspension. At least 1,000 employees have reportedly planned a virtual walkout for the 20th of October in response. The public has responded in turn, with dozens of Netflix customers saying that they plan to or have already cancelled subscriptions to the platform over its handling of the Chappelle special. And honestly, it's honestly really grossly insulting that the person who is at the head of the company, or the co-CEO at the very least, is looking at this from the perspective of, oh, it's just jokes and that's never hurt anyone ever. And I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Netflix have an ad campaign? Oh, head off, folks. Have a good one. I swear Netflix had a campaign recently where, not recently, but like just in general, at some point in Netflix's history, there was a campaign about how stories can impact us on a serious level. Hello, Jasmine. Hello, friends.
Welcome, friends.
Welcome to the Rogue Room, everybody. We're talking about the Chappelle thing just to get it out of the way. Or we're talking about the Netflix thing. Hello, welcome in, folks. How yous going? How was the rest of your stream? What'd you get up to? Welcome in. I'm rating the honorary Asian streamer. Hi, I'm an honorary Asian. Isn't this what Disclosure was about? Well, I think it was, actually, yes. I need to check out Disclosure at the very least. How was Stardew? What'd you get up to? I'm Australasian. I mean, that technically counts, doesn't it? Ending of Ace Ventura was just jokes too. Exactly. Which that in itself has facilitated transphobic opinion. Asian Australian trans streamer, yes. I'm officially... It's like, yeah, well, hang on, what is it? I'm now even more minorities. Well, minorities in Australia, at least. And... C slur pass? I fucking hope not. Disclosure was about trans representation in film history. You know what? I mean, be this as it may, I know some of you probably don't like Lindsay Ellis, but she had a really good video on the subject of trans representation in the media, which was released in the wake of ContraPoints releasing her video, J.K. Rowling. So, first of all, go watch ContraPoints' J.K. Rowling, and then go watch Lindsay Ellis's video about trans representation in the media, or, you know, we could watch Disclosure. I might check that out. At the very least, you know, all of that representation of transness in media informs opinion, whether we want to believe it or not. We don't like, some people don't like Lindsay. I don't mind Lindsay. I don't know. I think she said some edgy things, probably. Some people don't like to treat, some people like to tweet. Some people like to tweet. Some people like to treat Twitter as though it is the be-all, end-all of communication and no one can make a joke on there. Anyway, but that's a bit different to an entire multi-million-dollar special on Netflix. Tweet me, Dad. Anyways. So how was Stardew? How was Stardew? Cunt is not a word. It's, well, I'm not going to say it. Obviously, it's a slur. Oh, yeah. Yes, I think we know what the C slur is. We don't need to repeat it. Oh, yeah, it was the Dragon movie comment, yes. Which she explained, but of course the explanation isn't going to matter to people who were looking for something to be upset about. You know, I do agree with her assessment, because it did seem to take that same... I don't know, like, if you treat it as a thing of this is a critique of any kind of Asian narrative, then yeah, that's a bad way to look at it. But funny how we've gotten onto this topic. Hang on. There's a bug on my screen. But I think there definitely is a form of story arc that's very similar to The Last Airbender, which is not a new story arc, honestly. It's not a new idea, but I think because Avatar is the one that did it the most recently and the most influentially, if we see any kind of narrative that reflects that in any way, shape, or form, people are going to make those comparisons. And that's fair. If I see something that... like, think about it this way. I love time loop narratives. I was playing Outer Wilds recently. That was great. 12 Minutes came out a little while ago. And there's a bunch of other time loop narratives that I can't even think of off the top of my head. But the first thing that springs to mind whenever I find out something is a time loop, Groundhog Day. Every time loop is just a rip-off of Groundhog Day. Which is not true, obviously. But you look at that specific narrative archetype and you see how it plays out, and you're like, basically Outer Wilds plays very much like how Groundhog Day does. Throughout the movie, Bill Murray's character, whose name escapes me at the moment actually, starts figuring out different things, or he starts using this infinite time that he's got to learn new things and to realize exactly how everything's going to play out. He stops the guy from stepping in the puddle, for example. And like this, it's the same with 12 Minutes. It's the same with Looper. Looper's good. Is Looper a time loop? I don't think it's a time loop. No. Oh, maybe it is. I can't remember. Anyway, at any rate, Predestination, the movie / short story. I might have to check that one out. Looper's pretty good. Russian Doll, I might have to check that one out. I love time loop narratives. I really do. But it's the same with Outer Wilds. It's a time loop. Spoilers for like literally the beginning of the game. You die. You go back to the start of the loop, and you use whatever information you have discovered to progress to the next part of the story. Your knowledge, you learn things. Anyway, let's turn these lights off. Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, fuck, I love that one. Some people... We should watch it. Hell yes. Who has seen Edge of Tomorrow? I love it. I really think the marketing was a bit sketchy, though, because they had the what's it called? Fuck, I don't know. All the posters and stuff had this big emblematic text on it that says "Live, Die, Repeat," which is a really good title, actually, compared to Edge of Tomorrow. However, was it Edge of Tomorrow? That was it, wasn't it? Yeah. There was another movie that came out right around the same time, which had a very similar aesthetic to Edge of Tomorrow, that had Tom Cruise in it. But yeah, like as a movie title, Live, Die, Repeat kind of really works. And they made that the big poster slogan on everything. Every one of the posters says "Live, Die, Repeat." Oblivion, that's the one I'm thinking of. And I'm like, that's a really cool movie title, but that's not the title of it. I'll Edge You Tomorrow. Happy Death Day, I think I've heard of that one. The Danish Girl. Is that your job, Ziwa? The Danish Girl has good intentions, but it falls for every trope you're not supposed to do when making a trans movie. On the I don't know what this is specifically, but there was another time loop movie I saw a little while back that was honestly just kind of really fucking shit. There was one that was just really shit that I saw, and the reason it was really shit is because it featured a bunch of rich white people, particularly a bunch of rich white teenage school kids. And the leader of the story was this pretentious white girl who lives in a mansion. And I'm like, I just can't be... Like, the whole time I was sitting there watching, I'm like, this is awful. So it's so pretentious. Everyone's so uppity and... No, it wasn't The Purge. It was a time loop. The main girl is the one stuck in the time loop. I didn't watch the thing you sent me in DM, sorry. Palm Springs, Andy Sam. Oh, yeah. I think we were going to watch that one. Excuse me. There we go. Well, I'm out of Monster now. Now the only sugar-free monster here is me. That's a lie. I'm not sugar-free at all. Anyway, yeah, we got to finish Hannibal. I seldom watch anything. You have to force me to watch things. You have to strap me into a chair, pin my eyes open. I'm an entertainer. I do this for a living. You're meant to watch me. Don't make me watch other shit. I'm busy. Anyway, let's continue on this story for a bit. Where were we? In the face of increasing backlash, we already read that bit, the company also suspended a trans worker who tweeted criticism of the special. We might have seen the... I think we talked about the Terra Field thread. At any rate, that thread is still up. I'm pretty sure you can find it. I'm fairly certain we covered that one. Yeah, we did. We read through it, and then like there's a huge segment where they were just tweeting a whole bunch of little snippets of stories of trans people who had been murdered as a statement of like, this is what platforming transphobic speech does, right? And I think all of them were trans BIPOC people. So to make that issue even worse, because it honestly seems as though Dave Chappelle has got this attitude, and I mentioned this before, that being trans is like a privileged white trans woman thing. Like it feels like he thinks transitioning is something that people like Caitlyn Jenner do, and there are not, you know, disprivileged people of color who are trans, or anything, or even just disprivileged trans people in general. Anyway, disprivileged isn't a word, I don't think, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Anyway, in the face of we already read that bit. Where are we? Did we read that bit? Yeah. That part, yeah. At least, yeah, so the virtual walkout, somebody asked what that was. I'm assuming maybe they're working from home, which would mean we're just not going to work on the 20th. So a work strike. Anyway, celebrating coming out day by cancelling my Netflix sub, one user tweeted, not because they aired the transphobic special, everyone screws up, but when it was pointed out, they doubled down on it and suspended the trans employee who talked about it. An exodus from Netflix would be an added hurdle for the company, which has been battling a rise in streaming platforms in recent years. Yeah, they've been struggling a bit. In its most recent earnings report, it revealed a user slump attributed to the coronavirus pandemic. Excuse me. It last reported 209 million paid memberships after only adding 1.5 million in its most recent quarter, as analysts warned Netflix's lead in the space was threatened by rivals including Amazon Prime, HBO Max, and Walt Disney Company's Disney+. There we go. So there's that. Oh yeah, I've still got this article up, and I'm kind of interested in reading it. What is Rumble? The fuck is Rumble? Some of the best trans movies are the ones that aren't even about trans characters, but play with the general themes through another lens. They always tend to be way more nuanced than the trans movies that actually get made. Ghost in the Shell. I need to watch Ghost in the Shell. I really want to watch it. But yeah, like I do agree with that idea, Clara. Especially like, obviously, The Matrix is the most glaring example of a trans narrative that's not blatantly a trans narrative. You know, if you've not watched The Matrix through a trans lens, I haven't either. I've got a copy of it there, but the last time I watched it, I thought I was cis. I think I need to rewatch it from that specific perspective of having been out, you know. But I think, yeah, there's a lot of themes that... There are a lot of themes in a lot of movies that could apply to trans people broadly. Like Celeste is another example. The video game Celeste, that is. You know, you could read that as just a story about someone dealing with anxiety and depression, right? But then you look at it through the trans lens, and there's a lot of things that are like, holy shit, that's dysphoria. Holy shit, I feel exactly these things, and I realize it's because this is, you know, me relating to it on a trans level, you know. I'm pretty sure there's a line in... Oh, no, sorry, there's a thematic element of mirrors in Celeste early on, I think, which applies to the whole dysphoria thing. And then we deal with the anxiety of having this alternate self that just absolutely fucks with our head. Like my hair is fucking with my head right now, and I wish you would stop. Come on, Fringe. Sit properly. I'm going to get some hairspray. There we go. In fairness, I'm pretty sure the Wachowskis thought they were cis when they made it too. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think a lot of these things, well, I'm not sure actually, because like the red pill thing, maybe, I don't know. I think at the very least the Wachowskis may have been clued into trans culture. Would it be culture? Not really culture. It's more of an, maybe, I don't know. I think at the very least they might have been influenced by their knowledge of transoid things. Neo and Morpheus have whole ass monologues that are basically describing dysphoria. True. Yeah, they knew they were trans. There we go. So yeah, like, well, we've got that confirmation. But even if they didn't know they were trans, it would have been very likely they would have been clued in, and that would have helped inform the narrative. Because one of Stephen King's, I think it was Stephen King that said this, is like, write what you know. You know, was it Stephen King that wrote that in the book on writing? Anyway, have a good one, homonyms. Which I think, you know, informs that perspective of, you know, if you're going to write about something, take the time to research it at the very least. And if you don't want to research something, write about something you are intimately familiar with. Lily had less confidence to come out than Lana, but after Lana came out, Lily found her confidence. Oh. Yeah, my titty seedles are reddish orange as well. I'm on Zoomies. The pills are a metaphor for the movie forcing people to be trans. They're putting chemicals in the movie that make the trans. It's really funny that, you know, 20 years ago, a bunch of young men were lining up to go see The Matrix. And now 20 years later, those same girls are lining up to see The Matrix. Shut up! I'm allowed to repeat jokes. Deal with it. She has to live with this now. You know that tweet. Zoomies. They are Zoomies. They give, look. I got my pack of Zoomies right here. Look. You can't see that they're, they've got these weird letters on them that I think stand for, sexual fetishes or something. I don't know. No, we haven't moved in together, but she hangs out here a lot, and I'm okay with it. I am the trans in the very think you thoughts. I might get up and pee for a sec. You know, we're about halftime, I think. So I think it might be time for me to go take a wee-wee. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about some new stuff. I wanted to do some memes. I want to look at some memes. So I want to look at some Are the Cis OK memes, which would be a whole thing. Might not be fun. Might be kind of depressing, but, you know. Anyway. Sadomasochistic torture wet titty fuck sex. Alright, BRB, folks. Yeah, my girlfriend's fucking hot, dude. Seriously. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Say hello.
Hello.
I don't know if you folks can hear her, but she's...
Yes, they can.
Okay, good. I got a Dark Souls. Look at this shit. I got a You Died shirt. Is this?
I was sure she had one already.
I wish I'd like. This is Poggies. Yeah. Hang on. We got Jim Beam Devil's Cut. Yeah. And there are two wolves inside of me. One is a trans woman. One is a chaser.
I'm being spit roasted.
Yeah, no. What was the way Artie phrased it in that tweet? It was like, inside of you there are two wolves. You're being spit roasted. I have not tried Devil's Cut before. I've been wanting to for ages, and now we're finally trying it. It's pretty good. Devil's Cut with Coke. Yeah, we're not drinking it straight. That's not heterosexuality. Ew. I should stop making that joke. I'm not gonna. Anyway. Heterosexual? Ew. Kappa. Don't actually have a problem with heterosexuals. By all means, be boring if you want. Anyway. Let's do some Aussie news. Because I'm sick of talking about Dave Chappelle and Netflix. I went to say Jim Chappelle. Who's Jim Chappelle? We were going to do memes, but I want to do some news. I want to do a bit of news. Actually, there's an article I want to read. It's not really news, but this is interesting. It's very long, though. It's a very lengthy article here about ADHD. This is interesting. I glanced at this before. I didn't read it properly, but I glanced at this before. You were born boring. I'm sorry. Oh my god, do we actually have heterosexuals in my chat? What? Banned. There are two wolves inside of you. There are 50 million wolves inside of you, if you know what I mean.
Oh god.
Inside of me there are two wolves, because I felt like eating wolf for dinner. Anyway, how culture affected my ADHD diagnosis. I'm curious to see what this says. It's a cream pie joke. I know. My hair looks cute. Thank you. I try to make it sit still. It's not behaving itself. Anyway, when most people think of ADHD, they picture a disobedient boy who can't sit still, talks back, and gets poor grades at school. We've talked about ADHD before, and how I think there's a lot of people who think... I got a friend, actually, who has recently-ish received an ADHD diagnosis after many years of not knowing what was wrong with her, right? Well, what was wrong in her own mind. She couldn't figure out all these issues she was having. Anyway... When I was in school, I was the poster child for the stereotypical Asian nerd, and I am an honorary Asian, so I'm allowed to speak in first person here. My teachers described me as studious, shy, and well-behaved. My report cards were consistent A+, potholed with the occasional and unspeakably disappointing A-. Oh my goodness. I excelled at both violin and piano. I even had the stereotypical Asian bob haircut and glasses to boot. But at age 20, I was diagnosed with ADHD. How could the high-achieving Asian kid have a neurological disorder? The model minority mask. As the child of a Vietnamese refugee and Malaysian immigrant, I grew up under the weight of impossibly heavy expectations. These were not just from my parents' Asian culture, but also from the Australian culture I was raised in. There was this model minority myth that claimed all Asians are obedient and academically gifted. Success was not just an expectation for me, I thought it was my only option. Let me put my thing back on. Hang on. I developed what I thought was an impenetrable mask. If you met me in school, you'd see the textbook Asian girl that everyone expected me to be. What you wouldn't see was the steep price I had paid to appear that way. It's nice to have an old friend for dinner. We got the fava beans? Anyway. Model minorities are supposed to be quiet and well-behaved. Whenever I expressed excess emotions, I was shamed, so I learned how to not show them at all. Model minorities are meant to be high achievers. Whenever I succeeded, I just thought it to be an inherent property of my race and not my own effort. Model minorities are meant to be naturally studious. However, every assignment involved desperately trying to channel my impossibly fast thoughts. My hand would shake, my muscles cramped, and my heart raced, leaving me tight-headed every time. I thought these feelings were normal and just a part of being a good student. My mask faltered without the structure of school. My mask first faltered when I finished school and moved out of home. With less structure and accountability, my ADHD appeared to worsen, but really it just lost the perfect prison that had controlled my executive dysfunction. By that time, I had internalized many of the expectations others had for me. I believed my academic achievement and studious nature to be parts of my identity. I received my first ever B, and it shocked me to my core. I'd also... And this is honestly, this part here is the problem with the whole idea of telling your child they're gifted. Just this segment here, like if you teach your child that they're gifted, they've got a special gift and all that, and all throughout their childhood and even through high school, they have this expectation that they're just better than everybody else, and so they start striving for good grades and start striving to be the best they possibly can be, and then they get out there beyond school and they get hit with like a negative score, like a low score on a uni test or anything like that. That's going to just massively impact on their confidence. I'm gonna tell my child they're stupid to make them feel better about this stuff. I think there's a really negative... I mean, by all means, encourage your child to do the best they can. But if you give them this idea in their head that they are the best, and they have to continue striving to be the best under every circumstance, it's going to crush them later in life. Beyond school, the education substitute. I also had started to explore romantic relationships and struggled immensely with dating. My emotional dysregulation made anything look like rejection, causing me to misread situations. All of this is somewhat relatable. My distractibility and trouble-shifting tasks made it hard for me to be intimate. My sensory dysfunction made physical touch often difficult. Throughout these experiences, I never had the language to communicate, let alone manage how I was feeling. I'd often give in to my fear of rejection, abandoning my needs, and find myself trapped in toxic relationships. I internalized so much shame, wondering why life seemed to work magically for other people and not me. Fuck, that's a vibe. That there seemed to work magically for other people. Felt like a powerless victim to my own mind, unable to do anything other than watch my life crumble around me. Confronting my imposter syndrome. Even though I knew something was wrong, I didn't feel like I deserved support. I've got a bit of food stuck in my teeth, fucking hell. After a series of crises, I was diagnosed with ADHD at age 20. The psychiatrist told me that the combination of cultural expectations and ADHD's fear of rejection was once enough to overcome my attentional deficit. However, now with less structure in my life and more distance from that culture, my symptoms were more noticeable. My initial feeling from receiving my diagnosis was guilt and shame. Neurodiversity is so heavily stigmatized in my culture. I didn't feel like I could tell anyone about my diagnosis, and it would only bring shame to my family. I felt like I was a living contradiction, like being Asian and having ADHD were mutually exclusive. You can be president, biggest lie told to public school kids. Yeah, exactly. How come it's always you can be president and never you can be girl? I know. Oh my god, one day there's gonna be a girl president, but not, boys can't be girls though. Anyway, we need less presidents and more girls, yes. Let's start a new Isle of Lesbos. Anyway. I battled for quite some time with imposter syndrome. My intrusive thoughts would tell me things like, I'm imagining my ADHD, or I'm smart so I should be able to overcome this, even though I would be surrounded by constant reminders of my symptoms. You are not alone. Healing looks different for everyone, but for me it was finding out I wasn't alone. I found online peer support forums where people were sharing their stories of mental health challenges and recovery. It was where I met peer supporters who had experienced braving their storm and had come back to walk with me through mine. I can't tell you how much it helped to hear directly from people that were just like me. My life kicked into full gear after that. I finished my degree, got my first full-time job, and was promoted within the year. I moved by myself across the country, and I've never felt more at home. Being Asian and appearing high-functioning doesn't mean I don't need or deserve help. If my ADHD was assessed and treated with my cultural context in mind, I may have received the support I needed. It's important that services and practitioners are trained to identify and support marginalized and minority presentations of neurodiversity. Knowing all that I know now, there would be so much I want to tell my younger self. If anyone reading this is also struggling, I'd like to say, you are not a failure for wanting help. You are not too broken to get better, and you are not alone. Pardon? Well, yeah, I mean, that could apply to that as well, yeah. That's one of those tricky things to talk about, but I thought that was worth bringing up, because I saw that article and I thought that's probably a neat thing to address, because I know some of you deal with issues relating to your own neurodiversity. I certainly struggle with my autism a lot of the time, and I was one of those kids who, honestly, this is the thing that sucks, is I was definitely one of those kids that was encouraged to become some kind of grand wealth-bringing breadwinner when I was a kid. Everyone told me when I was young that I was going to grow up to be a doctor or an architect or an actor or something that's bringing in tons of cash. And, you know, like, and it was like, it was framed as jokes. Like, a lot of the time it was framed as jokes. Stuff like, oh, you know, you're going to become a rich surgeon one day and you're going to buy me a house, says me mum. And that puts, like, as a kid who was going through primary school and still didn't quite comprehend what being a boy meant. I'm not a boy, apparently. You know? It really does put a lot of pressure on the kid. And, like, a lot of kids can't comprehend those things as jokes. A lot of kids are very hopeful. If you tell a kid, yeah, you're going to grow up to be a doctor one day, aren't you? They'll get that into their head. And if they can't stay focused on that train of thought, it's going to end up much worse if they deal with neurodivergencies that prevent them from focusing. Like, I struggle to focus on anything other than this, honestly. Like, the streaming thing is the main thing I can actually focus on in terms of productivity, I suppose. You have ADHD yourself, Izzy? Up until you were diagnosed at 30, up until you were diagnosed due to the social environment, believed it didn't exist and was just an excuse for badly behaved kids. Which I can understand, like the general portrayal of ADHD does sort of lean into that narrative. After being diagnosed, you learn what it actually is and how much it affects your life. Turns out it is a real disability for me, and the primary reason for me being homeless multiple times, forgetting appointments, failing with organizing my life, paying bills. Yeah, honestly, I have been strongly contemplating seeing somebody about a diagnosis, because it feels like I might actually have ADHD undiagnosed, because there are a lot of things that I struggle with that could be explained by ADHD. I remember going in to get back on your meds after your employer allowed it, and the doc says, well, you've been coping for 20 years, why now? Yeah, exactly, right? Sorry for talking viewer count, but 69. Can we... Hang on. Nice 3. Cool, we got nice 3. That's awesome. You can't chant. Oh, what the fuck. The whole if you don't be a doctor or accomplish your dreams will be a failure, then the real world hit and it destroys you when you drop out of college. Yeah, exactly. And that's the point. The idea is that people who've gone to college and have done something with their lives beyond getting an entry-level job have really made it. And if you don't have those kind of things, you haven't made it, and you don't deserve any of the things you want in life. And the narrative that is placed on minorities like me is that we always must work twice as hard to get half as far as our white counterparts. Had that told me plenty as a black kid in the US. That reminds me of a TikTok I saw recently. Let me get this thought off my head before I continue reading chat, because there was a point made about let me see if I can remember this. You've got a couple, right? You've got a husband and a wife in this circumstance. And the wife says to the husband something to the effect of, go get the groceries, right? So she says to him, here's the grocery list, go get the groceries. And the husband goes and gets the groceries, but he mucks it up, right? So she tells him to do something else. She tells him to go do the laundry or do the dishes or whatever it is. And he mucks it up. And he keeps mucking it up time and time again. And it's this concept called... what was the name of it? Do you know the name of it? There's a name for this. There's a name for this thing where it basically just encourages this idea that the husband in this circumstance, and it tends to happen a lot with husbands. I'm going to be misandrous in this circumstance. It tends to happen a lot with men who are in the relationship. They want to sell this idea that they're incompetent. That's a part of the phrasing. Something incompetence, basically. And this TikTok that I saw was literally of a black dude in his bathroom getting ready to... Pardon? Strategic incompetence, that's it. So this black dude in his bathroom getting ready to brush his teeth, and he rattles off this entire thing about how this can apply on a racial level. It's how, white people in white society can fail upwards, right? They really can. There's a lot of mediocre white people who can basically fail upwards. They have no problem getting ahead, getting promotions, getting good jobs, provided you've got a few other privileges that line up, like if you have the proper capacity to network your way through the career path or what have you. But for people of color, excuse me, it's like they have to put in so much more energy just to get a tiny bit of recognition for all the work they do. So there is a level of strategic incompetence among white people in white society that leads to the way the guy in the TikTok framed it, effectively black excellence, right? So as he was referring to it in this circumstance, black people put in a ton more effort to get nowhere near as much recognition, nowhere as many promotions, nowhere as many, you know what I mean? Do you get the idea? There are people who can strategically, can use strategic incompetence to their own advantage. And it seems to be particularly prevalent in politics. Are we talking about trans jokes yet? Not yet. I've got this fucking hair in my face and it won't get out of my face. I'm definitely getting some... I've got hairspray, but it's not I don't want hairspray. There is a product you can use. Maybe it should be hair wax or something. I don't know. There is a product you can use to keep your hair stiff in this position. Look. Hey. This is a look. Mousse, that might be a good idea, yes. Yeah, I might try mousse. Mousse and hairspray combined. That's a good idea. What about some goth hair clips? I mean, I am buying more goth stuff. You should wait and see what I'm adding to my plushie setup soon. Oh, I think I just knocked your bracelet off my desk. Sorry. I ordered a bat plushie. It's a bat. Sorry, I have to express my excitement. I've got a bat coming. It's a cute bat. There's There's a cute bat coming. I could get a wig cap. Can someone tell me if Shoe on Head wears a wig? Hang on. I will show it at the stream, yeah. Just sacrifice him. I've got 3 spider plushies. Hang on. Y'all really didn't notice I've got 3 spiders over there? Fucking hell. Fake fans. Look. I got Minecraft spider. Yeah. I've got Redback. And I've got Lucas. I got 3 spider plushies. And get this, okay. Am I gonna be Shoe on Head for Halloween? Yeah, I'll be a populist YouTuber. Anyway. This is fucking hilarious. My sister bought Lucas because she thought it was cute, right? She wanted me to, she wanted to give this to me. But the thing is, she was living with my dad at the time, and we hadn't seen each other for ages. Like, it was like well over a year or something. Oh no, we'd been seeing each other, but she kept forgetting to bring the spider with her. And it's supposed to have a voice line, right? Or it's supposed to have like a little dialogue thing. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's me pressing the little button that makes it play voice lines. And it just sat in my dad's place for so long that the battery went dead. So now it's just like... I don't know if you can hear it, but it's just beeping. I don't know if I could cut him open and replace the battery or something, but... Do surgery on a plushie, but... I do, though! Legit, like... My girlfriend seriously got me into a show that reinvigorated my love of the idea of cutting open bodies. Like... I'm seriously strongly contemplating going to medical college so I can one day work in autopsy. Or surgery, I suppose. I don't know. I think autopsy would be better because then I'm not responsible for the person on my table being dead. You know. Yeah, I don't have to socialize. I just have to put up with a bad smell. Bad smells all day. Get TikToks of cadavers being cut sometimes. They're always really cool. I follow a bunch of I follow a bunch of trauma Instagram pages. So like every now and then I'll be scrolling along and it's like a censored image shows sensitive content and I'll click on it. It's like this massive mutilated foot or something. And I live for that. I love it. I should buy hair clips. I'll see if I can find some hair clips. I love that shit, honestly, unironically. I love gory, gruesome things, and I'd love to poke around inside the human anatomy. Anyway. Not in that way. That I'd love to poke around inside the torso of a person that is dead. That's worse. You like watching top surgeries? I haven't seen top surgery. Is that just... She's just feeding me lines at this point. Is that just surgery on a top? Did the top do a surgery? Fucking hell. Hardcore torso play. Oh, goodness me. So basically, a fetish for every day of the week. A channel for me. Ooh. Ooh. Ask a Mortician. Oh, I thought I was following this person. Didn't we... I am sure we did. We watched a video of hers at some stage. Didn't I subscribe? I thought I subscribed. Oh, well. Didn't we watch a video of hers about the COVID thing? About how there's so many bodies filling up funeral homes? I'm pretty sure we did. She's great. Yeah. She was really good. You should subscribe then. Alec, that's what you get for not subscribing. Hit that sub button. By the way, more vids in the Discords. I'll take a look. You know what I want to do? You know what I want to do? I want to watch... I haven't yet watched this. I want to watch Jesse Gender's video on Dave Chappelle's complex transphobia. I want to watch Jesse Gender, basically. You know. Turf said I have no friends because I have backward-ass gender ideologies. I mean, it's true I don't have friends, but my belief in trans people existing doesn't mean anything. True. That's so weird. Second to nothing. There you go. Premium 30,000. 30,000 amethysts. Ooh, hugs. I could do with some hugs. Hugs are good. Oh, anyway. Alright. Hugs. Come on. Another. The kiss wasn't part of it. You know. Oh my god. Homosexuality on Twitch. I'm gonna get banned. Kiss. It's gay as fuck. Anyway. Couldn't see the kiss? Oh well. Anyway. There's an article here that I want to look at, but like, I forget who linked this. I think it was Soul Reaper in my Discord linked this article or sent it to me or something. I'm not going to read this because it's a fucking novel. Alright? I'm not going to go through that. Jesus Christ. There should be limits on journalism. Fucking hell. Too much lesbianisms. Anyway. However, I did want to... Let me just see what else I've got here. I've got a few things here. What's he doing now? Nah. There's even more like really, really lengthy journal. I don't think Steven Crowder has ever masqueraded as a journalist, if I'm honest. There is an article here about the climate crisis, however, that we could look at, which would be good. Because we like talking about the climate. Hello, Native Love. How you going? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Welcome in. I hope you're well. So let's talk about a bit of the climate stuff. Bit of climate stuff in the old Australia. Bit in the old United States of Australia. Let me write an article about the overflow of journalism. Look, it doesn't count as journalism unless you have written at least 14 chapters worth. At least according to that other article. There's no way I'm going through that shit. Fuck. Anyway, Morrison tells Liberals he wants binding 2050 net zero target at Glasgow summit. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has told Liberal MPs he intends to take a binding commitment to net zero emissions by 2050 to the Glasgow, what the where'd that come from? Glasgow Climate Summit, revealing to colleagues it'll be more than a general statement of policy. But he confirmed to a Liberal Party room meeting on Monday morning he has no intention of upgrading Australia's 2030 emissions target, which was set under former Prime Minister Tony Abbott in 2015. Glasgow. Anyway, Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce, Nationalists leader Barnaby Joyce has warned of a ripple effect through the coalition if his party is put under pressure to endorse a cut in carbon emissions to net zero by 2050, as some of his colleagues warn against the goal because they will make less money. The Deputy Prime Minister said the Nationals would reject the net zero target if his colleagues felt threatened to make a rapid decision after they emerged from a 4-hour meeting on Sunday without agreement. Excuse me. Asked if he and others would have to quit cabinet if they could not agree with government policy, Mr. Joyce says this was a statement of the bleeding obvious, but he warned that this should not be pushed too far. The process is quite clear. Everybody is in cabinet at the behest of the Prime Minister, and that includes me, he told the ABC on Monday morning. But of course, hand in glove goes with that ripple effect through the coalition, and everything comes with rights and comes with consequences, and everybody is aware of that. Mr. Morrison is waiting on the Nationals to decide their stance after the Liberal Party backed him on Monday morning in a debate on the net zero target. Mr. Morrison told the meeting he intended to go to the Glasgow Climate Summit. Why couldn't I read that? Fuck. With net zero by 2050 as a nationally determined contribution, the formal term for a target rather than a non-binding statement of policy. You seen a group of furries in an arcade bar in full gear. That sounds good. That sounds good to me. Good on them. Mr. Morrison told the Liberals, however, that he would not upgrade the government's NDC for 2030 and would stand by the target he took to the last election, cutting emissions by 26 to 28% by 2030 on 2005 levels. Things have dramatically increased since 2005, I hope he's aware. Anyway. He said it was an issue at the last election and the government would honour that, said one Liberal in the room. Just said one Liberal. Just one Liberal. No one specific. Just a Liberal in the room. Some Liberal. Take that, Liberals. Liberals. Which are conservatives in Australia. Energy Minister Angus Taylor gave a presentation to the Liberal meeting, but it was described as high level and did not include projections for 2030 and 2050 or details on what might be offered to the Nationals to win their support. Mr. Morrison and Mr. Taylor both emphasised that Australia would suffer economically if it did not go ahead with a net zero 2050 target, with the Prime Minister pointing to changes in Japan and South Korea that could impact Australian energy exports over time. But Mr. Morrison did not ask for a decision or vote from colleagues because he reminded Liberals the policy was a matter for federal cabinet and did not require legislation in Parliament. While Queensland Liberal Senator Gerard Rennick told the meeting he rejected the need for a net zero pledge, other Conservatives have accepted the policy and moderates backed the outcome. Where were we? So, New South Wales Liberal Senator Holly Hughes, who is from the inland town of Moree, expressed frustration with the Nationals and said the Liberals represented more people in regional Australia. She gave the Nats a serve, said one of her colleagues, but there was no stronger criticism of the Nationals or Mr. Joyce, and most Liberals are seeking to avoid a clash. With Nationals such as Queensland Senator Matt Canavan campaigning to stop net zero by 2050, the Nationals party room cannot reach a consensus and could take days to decide a majority view. Speaking of, we were talking about the idea of like legitimate just villains before. Matt Canavan campaigning to stop net zeros. That's just villain shit. That's just comic book supervillain shit. We have to prevent the people trying to stop our emissions. We need our emissions. I will take over the world. The furry community in your country is extremely underground and small. Well, that's no good. I mean, you could argue it as a good thing. Not like a good thing as like it's really underground and small, but you know, could argue it as a good thing from the perspective of niche, close, tight-knit community. Lex Luthor stole 40 cakes. That's as many as 4 tens, and that's detestable, or whatever the word was. And that's awful. That's as many as 4 tens, Lex Luthor. That's horrendous. How dare you? 4 tens worth of cakes, Lex Luthor. Pardon? I'll be alright. Anyway. Excuse me. Labour MP Joel Fitzgibbon suggested on Monday the government could put a motion to the lower house to endorse net zero by 2050 given it would have majority support from Labour and most Liberals. The scenario would force a split in federal cabinet because the Nationals have 4 positions in cabinet and have chosen not to make a cabinet decision on net zero until their party room considers the question. Oh, good night, Lupa. Went to say Luther. Good night, Lupa. Have a good one. While the net zero 2050 target was discussed in federal cabinet last week with policy details set out to Mr. Joyce and his Nationals colleagues, a final decision is not expected until after the debates in the Nationals and Liberal party rooms. In a warning against taking the issue to the brink within the coalition, Mr. Joyce said the Nationals were not chained to a script. Bleh. Radio Fox, have a good one. We're not chained to a script and could go their own way on climate change policy. At times we have a variance of views, we have divergent views, we have different views, that is our right, he said in his first substantial remarks since the Sunday meeting ended without a decision. We are absolutely fervent about the exercise of that right, and if we ever believe that we are being threatened or pushed or stood over, I know what the outcome of that position is, people just say no. This is the issue, right, with this kind of thing, is they're so hell-bent on we have our views, we have our differences of opinion, on something that is categorically destroying the only planet we can live on. Like, we can't go live on Mars or the Moon or Mercury or whatever. We can't just move to another rock. We gotta take care of this one. And we gotta, like, slow down on these carbon emissions and shit. It's pretty fucking bad. I don't think your difference of opinion is going to stem the tide of climate change. Hate to break it to you. But we all know it's basically money versus the continued existence of human society. Nationals MPs said the meeting of 21 federal MPs was a good discussion without heated argument but also without a consensus. Some estimate that while 1/3 of the group is strongly against net zero by 2050, at least 1/3 support the goal. The Mars is a death trap anyways. Oh, absolutely. Anyone who's going on that Mars mission is not coming back. I guarantee you, they're not coming back. Having a discussion if we want to get out of the way of the train, pretty much. We're standing on the tracks debating about whether or not we should get off the tracks. There's no middle ground between an unlivable world and a livable one. That's a good quote. I like that. The party room meets again on Monday for the usual discussion when Parliament is sitting. The Liberal Party room is also meeting on Monday for a debate about climate policy ahead of a coalition party room meeting on Tuesday morning. Mr. Joyce confirmed a statement he made on Sunday that he did not expect the Nationals Party room to accept a higher Australian emissions target for 2030, standing by a cut of 26 to 28%, while United Nations leaders have called for a 45% cut. Yeah, we need at least that. We need at least the 45%. We just don't agree with it. Well, fuck off then. Get out of Parliament, you dipshit. He said of a higher target on the ABC on Monday morning. Nationals Deputy Leader and Agricultural Minister David Littleproud said... Yeah, Littleproud. Anyway, said on Sunday night the party room meeting was not asked to make a decision on a higher 2030 target. Mr. Littleproud said the Nationals would need the coming days, specifically in quotes, to consider the detailed decision on net zero. We'll work through it as quickly as we can to make sure that regional and rural Australia is protected. Anyway, rich people don't care about individuals' well-beings, which is why they don't care about war. To them, humans weaning themselves through fighting is natural. Exactly. And that idea facilitates and perpetuates down through the people who are being used and exploited for those kinds of things. Which is honestly kind of frightening, kind of terrifying. The sheer fact of the matter that there are so many people who feed into this idea that all of this is natural. All of this is just like, well, at least with regards to the war thing, people have been fighting and killing each other and genociding each other forever. It's like, that's not a justification for continuing it. Clearly we have the language and the understanding of one another that we can stem the tide of the violence. And the violence is perpetuated by oil barons, coal companies, all these people hoarding resources, going to war with one another, nuking the shit out of each other. Well, not at the moment, but you know. At the very least, shooting the shit out of each other and claiming each other's resources. You know. It's kind of morbid that, you know, some of my favorite video games, not my favorite video games, some of my favorite board games, honestly, kind of sit on that premise of like, you've got resources, time to take those resources from the other people who've got resources. Who wants to play Catan? Anyway. Are you telling me you transgender? How do you do that? How did you transgender? Anyway. You telling me the force femmed me? Where are you, cat? Where's my cat? My cat was in here a second ago. I could hear him. He was meandering about. Anyways. My hair looks like fucking garbage and I can't stand it. Oh my god. Afghanistan has lithium. Invaders will be back. Exactly. This stuff doesn't stop. I'm gonna be back in a sec. Hang on. I'm gonna fix this fucking hair up. It's pissing me off. Force Femme is arguably the strongest power in the Jedi Knight series. Natural equals good. Yeah, I hate that shit, honestly. If it's natural, it must be good. Cancer is natural. AIDS is natural. Mosquitoes are natural. Mosquitoes that give you malaria, those are natural. Let me fix this up really quickly. Let me just like... What? My tits are natural. Look at this. Is the look. I could do this. I can barely see anything. But this is... Hey. Sup? Even worse, Crowder exists as a natural organism. Many toxins natural. My tits are a good thing though. That's true. That's true. Hey, breasty. Fuck, dude. This is like... Sup? How can... I've seen people with hairstyles like this, and I'm like, how the fuck can you justify this kind of hairstyle? Honestly. Blahage is natural. Yeah, I need to get some hair clips. Definitely need to get some hair clips. Where do I get fucking hair clips? Kmart? Let's look at Kmart. Okay. Anyway, trans titties, the most wholesome titties. I can't believe I one time just shit posted about my titties on Twitter, which I do, and it pissed off the TERFs because they thought I was expressing obvious autogynephile sentiment. It was so wild of them to just project their sexual insecurity on me. It's like, oh yeah, I tweeted something like, so cool that I can play with titties whenever I want now. It's like, they could have... Yeah, the GF's got the right idea. They don't know what it is to like yourself. They're not familiar with that concept. It is such a self-report, isn't it? It's like, oh wow. Why are they so obsessed? How are they so obsessed with our bodies? I don't know. Okay, so hang on. If I take 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies and the Cookie Monster has 15 ovens working 24 hours a day, every day, for 5 years, how long does it take the Cookie Monster to make 6 million batches of cookies? A cookie. I don't know. Brownies. Can we get some more brownies in chat? No, I've had enough. I'm good. Plus, if AGP was a real thing, why would it even be something that's bad? That's another thing. It's like and I mean, we know why that is. It's because the people who are obsessed with this idea that transness is some kind of sexual fetish look down on sexual fetishism. Like and honestly, in a big way, it's inherently a misogynistic concept by its very design. Even if they think we are men dressing as women, they still see that as a negative thing. They still see that as a freakish thing. Like, even if we were men dressing as women, they still see that as some kind of a negative thing because that's not what that person's supposed to look like. The Cookie Monster thing is Holocaust denial? Seriously? Oh yeah, 6 million. That would make sense. Anyway. They just assume man back. Well, yeah, that's another factor of it. It's weird how the misogyny works its way through misandry to get to their ultimate end goal. Like, they really just want to deny trans women their womanhood, primarily. Again, like, all of the turfness, all of the transphobia that we see is inherently misogynistic in some way. Okay? So, with regards to trans women, we've seen what they criticize the fact that we want to change our bodies. They criticize the hormone treatments. They say that's unnecessary. They say the surgeries are unnecessary. They think we are men that want to invade women's spaces and commit not hate crimes. Want to commit like sexual assault and things of that nature. Like they really think trans women are inherently a threat to cis women, which is trans misogynistic. And then when it comes to trans men, right, they think trans men are confused lesbians who want to lop off their healthy breast tissue and like mutilate themselves into this. Like it's just really, it's a really inherently obsessively misogynistic movement. You know, it's a hell of a long game they are playing, assuming the community is playing. Hell of a long game they are assuming the community is playing. Yeah, exactly. It's like I went into the women's toilets today, and crazy thing happened. I didn't rape anyone. That's so weird. If the TERF's narrative was true, why didn't that happen, I wonder? Maybe it's because trans women are not inherently rapists, you bunch of freaks. Anyway. How do I feel about Dr. Powers posting about how he thinks AGP is a real thing that he watches out for? I am not familiar with that person or that idea at all. Had people pushing the MRA trope against me yesterday and called me a neo-Nazi lover by calling someone a white knight. I'm confused, Phoebe. What do you mean? I mean, the first thing that came to mind, honestly, Phoebe, with that, is when someone posted a thing recently, and I quote tweeted it, and I'll see if I can find it quickly, about how terms like based or cope and seethe and stuff like that were basically alt-right terminology that have sort of worked their way into general online discourse language. And they were saying, oh, this is neo-Nazi speech, and we're, platforming fascist ideas by saying these things. And I'm like, I really don't think so. Honestly, I don't look at it that way. Let me see if I can find it. No, this is stoking the fire. No, not this one. Let me see. Let me have a gander. I can't find it. It's somewhere in here, I'm sure. Anyway. No. Oh well. Doesn't matter. You know, I've looked at, you know, slang like based and cringe and cope and all that. I've never seen it explicitly used. I mean, I've seen it used in, like, by fascies, of course. But I think it's just slang at this point, and you're not going to get everyone to agree to only use certain terminologies. And this is kind of one of the issues we have on the left, particularly, with regards to the language we use, is that we might adopt certain new terminologies. We might adopt certain new ideas. And the problem is those ideas eventually get co-opted by the right and then twisted into meaning something else. Which is why we have to come up with new terminologies and new ways to discuss things. He's not trans, he treats trans people. That's what I mean by trans doctor. Oh, I missed that bit. Who pioneered a lot of new ways people take HRT, like... Pardon? Oh, okay. I did not know about this. It was news to me. He's extremely based, which is why his AGP remarks are, like, considerable. Even then, like, it's really weird. Like, not Dr. Powers in this circumstance, but it's really weird of Ray Blanchard, like a cis-het man, to be so obsessed with the idea of transgender women to write entire articles about their existence and to psychoanalyze them and all of this kind of nonsense. Only to be thoroughly debunked, by the way. I remember the argument on the use of queer in the 90s and early thousands, hundreds. back in the day, in the early hundreds. You know, white knight is a term from medieval literature depicting good and evil. They were saying white knight implied white supremacy. Ah, I see. So they're basically reaching. Am I Dr. Powers? I don't know, are you? But even then, even if AGP had any real application, hint, it doesn't. Again, it doesn't affect anyone other than the person who might experience that thing, and it's not harming anyone. It's the same as, like, people being autistic is a bad thing for some reason. Because of the fact that, and this is the main issue, this is the main point of argument against trans people, is that there is a potential likelihood they could harm cis women, they could harm cis girls, right? But that's true of anyone that could be a predator. Like literally anyone could be a predator. There are cis women predators. How come they're not addressing that situation? Why are they not looking down that avenue? You know? Fuck that, I like my autism. And yeah, like the argument against autism, the argument in favor of basically conversion therapy for autistic people. I can't remember what it's called. Applied behavioral analysis, ABA. The argument in favor of ABA is that it will normalize the child and alleviate some of the stress on parents and carers of autistic kids and adults. You know, it will foster more socially acceptable behaviors in the autistic person, and thus they will no longer be such a strain on the carer. It's not about the well-being of the autistic person at all. It's about the well-being of the carer or the parent, right? So ABA is an inherently abusive method of trying to keep an autistic child in line, and unfortunately there is some evidence to suggest it works by virtue of the child adopts response behaviors to the abuse they're going through. So they have some studies saying, oh look, ABA works because you've abused them into a position where they know the response is, if I don't want to be punished for this thing, I need to behave accordingly. Which is a scary thought. Yeah. There is potential likelihood of GCs and TERFs harming cis women. Exactly. We've discussed this before. the idea of, if they want to gatekeep women's spaces, just like the public toilets thing is the most obvious example. If they want to gatekeep those spaces so severely, what that's going to lead to is TERFs and GCs trying to gatekeep cis women out of those spaces who might be gender non-conforming, who might be a bit butch, who might be a bit, I don't know, they might fit the description, they might have a certain facial structure, short hair, bigger, broader build, etc. Let's have a look at this. Dr. Power said that a handful of times a year he gets a new client who he thinks is AGP and refers them to a psychologist before he helps them with HRT stuff. I see. Okay, so you've been goth for ages. I'm still in a place where my fem levels are where I want them. Where were we? It'll make it easier for NTs to deal with us. Yes, basically. So ABA is inherently abuse. It's inherently an abusive conversion therapy method. If anyone says to you that they have an autistic child and they're thinking of sending their autistic child to ABA, that's a big yikes. Because what ABA entails, it's not just like some kid going to a therapist and talking about their problems for like an hour a week or something. It's legitimately, this person will come and spend time with the autistic child like 8 hours a day trying to condition certain behaviors into them and certain behaviors out of them. Usually involves, torture basically. Yes, dude. It's dog training for kids. Yes. It's very, very strict dog training for kids, basically. And it's a frightening thought. So let me have a look at this. Alright. This is a big story here on the Willpower subreddit. So what is it? I've never heard of this guy before, but according to the description, Dr. William Powers, family physician, LGBT care, transgender specific care, Dr. Powers can't respond to PMs anymore on literally any platform. He's overwhelmed and you all send him 50 to 100 a day. Excuse me. This is me on Instagram. Please stop. They are ignored. I get so many DMs from people these days saying, hot, you're hot, hey, hi. I just delete them. I block those people and I delete their messages. If you want to ask him a question, post in this subreddit. He will do his best when he has time. Do not DM me on Instagram. By the way, that's just a thing. A general rule. If you see me post on Instagram, do not DM me on Instagram. Find another platform. Do not DM me on Instagram. Just throwing that out there. Post in this subreddit and he will do his best when he has time. The Peanut Gallery tends to chime in a lot, though, for things he has commonly spoken on. Be excellent to each other. I'm trying to figure out whether I've just internalized memes or I'm actually a repressed furry, honestly. I mean, that was how I felt about a lot of trans things. Ms. Sylvian, I'm doing well. How are you? I had a lot of moments that, I look back on and I'm like, oh, that was an egg cracky moment back in the day. How many video games I played where I made my protagonist a female protagonist on purpose because I just wanted to escape the idea of being a dude for a while. That was so weird. And specifically, like, if romance options were available, I'd specifically go for the lesbian option for obvious reasons. Anyway. So let's have a look at this story. This is from 2 years ago. The story of how I screwed up a dose calculation and gave myself gender dysphoria for 2 days. Whoever you are, Sir Paolo, I'm not gonna say that shit, dude. Shut up. Fucking hell. I debated ever admitting to this publicly as it would add to the mad scientist perception people have of me or me being reckless, which is pretty unfair. I don't do anything that isn't done to humans safely in other branches of medicine. I just combined them under one umbrella. Hello, Chrissy. How you going? Lesbian, La Dollar Bean. That being said, I think it important to admit to and document just to express what it was like for a cis person to have gender dysphoria. I'm a dude. Very much a dude. Love being a dude. It's great. We're big and strong and durable and fast. We're built for hunting and defense. Oh, God, I hate this shit. That appeal to our primitive nature is so cringe, honestly. I'm just gonna say that right now. That's fucking cringy. Anytime anyone does that shit, I'm like, shut the fuck up, okay? Dude, you're a medical physician. You're not built for hunting and defense. Fuck right off with that shit right now. I'm more built for hunting and defense than this guy is, I bet. Anyway. I lift. Anyway, I have literally never in my life wanted to be feminine or female in any way. I am, however, a vain son of a bitch, and I want to be young and healthy forever, don't we all? If I could make myself immortal, I'd do it immediately. There is so much knowledge out there that I'll never get to learn because I'd die too soon. Thank you for that timeout, Phage. Dude, shut the fuck up. To that, I take certain things to potentially extend my lifespan. One of my little tricks after noticing the rejuvenating effect feminizing HRT had on my patients, particularly their facial skin, it literally erases wrinkles and makes them look a decade younger. Is that why I've de-aged a bit? I figured I could exploit this in myself. I made myself varying formulations of E2, E3, or a combination of both to be applied topically to the face. My current one is 9010 E2, E3 at 10 milligram per gram or 1%. I apply a fifth of a gram to my hand, mix it with some moisturizer, and throw that crap on my face once or twice a week. It had a really impressive effect in terms of wiping out some of my mid-30s lines on my face. When I checked my serum levels, they remained at baseline. E2 of about 40-60ish usually, T 700 to 1,000. Lost about 5 years yourself. That's good shit, isn't it? Transgender is age reversal. The fountain of youth, we've found it. Let's just make a big pool of estrogen. Anyway, and you just go in it, and you come out looking like a fresh baby. Anyway, I was quite proud of this trick and had it compounded into a clicker, which is a dispenser that lets me put out 1/5 of a gram at a time. I recently decided to try pure E2 and pure E3 to see which was generating a better effect, as I always used a blend. When I wrote the RX for the pure E2, I wasn't paying attention and wrote for 1,000 milligrams per gram or 10% cream. I made this 100. Fucking hell, I'm dumb. I can't read. I made this mistake by clicking the box I normally click for transitioning patients, as I click that box 99% of the time, instead of the one I have for myself. Thank God I made this mistake on myself and not a patient. I literally have never made a dose calculation error before in my whole career, and I made it on myself. It arrived and I didn't notice the mistake. Unlike the usual clicker, this came in a pump. I tried to dispense 1/5 of a gram, but when I pushed the pump, a whole gram came out. I didn't want to waste it all and I was in a rush, so I figured, screw it, it's fine, it's only 1%, and slathered it on my face, up with that, and went on my merry way. It's insanely dry here in Michigan in the winter, and the next day I had some dry skin on my face again. Unable to find any moisturizer in the house, I figured I'd get some after the clinic, and I just used one more full pump again and committed to getting some Cetaphil on the way home. And this was a terrible mistake. I don't know where this is going, but anyway, we'll keep reading. I'm intrigued. The following night, I had a dream that I was developing gynecomastia. It was bizarre to have such a dream, as I have literally never had anything of the sort in my head in my whole life. People always think I'm secretly trans or have some transgender family member. Nope. I honestly love what I do because it's a puzzle that hasn't been solved by everyone else yet. The biochemistry is fascinating. Regardless, in regards to the gynecomastia dream, I didn't think much of it. I showered in the morning, saw myself in the mirror, all was well, just a dream, flamed on to see my patients, had a good day, went to bed. Woke up the following morning and all was not okay. I leaned over and my chest hurt. I was very confused until I touched my chest and realized my nipple was hard as a rock and insanely painful.
Another round
Hey!
on you.
Thank you, Miss Sylveon, for the 17 bits. Where were we? Realizing I probably screwed up by using a full gram, I ran to the bathroom to look at the bottle and pretty much gasped in horror. I had not only used 5 times the normal amount, I had used 100 times the normal dose effectively twice. In 2 days, I had given myself more estrogen than I would normally give myself in like 6 months. I normally use 1/5 of a 10 milligram dose once or twice a week, so 4 milligrams a week at most, or less than 1 milligram a day. I gave myself 200 milligrams in 2 days. Dysphoria crashed over me like a literal wave as I was scrambling to think how I could undo my screw-up. I imagined the horror scenario like I had started some unstoppable progress, and this would just continue unabated even if I stopped the estrogen. I rapidly dreamed up whatever pharmacology I could think of to reverse the process as quickly as possible and used it. Thankfully, 2 days later, all went back to normal. However, during those 2 days when my estrogen was like stupidly high, I could not stop thinking about how awful it was and how much I didn't want those changes to happen to my body. It was really honestly pretty terrible, and I have a newfound empathy for gender dysphoria as a problem. I had sympathy before, but now I have empathy as I think I got a small taste of what it must be like to deal with. It literally dominated my thoughts for 2 days and I had nightmares about it. Embarrassing as this story is to tell, I think it's important to share. It is rather interesting, at the very least. There we go. I'd never heard of that guy before, yeah. Or maybe I had, I don't know. True, yeah. Maybe I've, like, briefly heard of him in Arties. But otherwise, fucking hair, dude. Like, my hair should not look like this. Having dysphoria over my hair looking like I have a fucking comb over. Jesus. Let me get this out of the way here. That'll do. That's good enough. Fuck the fringe off until I can get some hair product. I've got nice hair at least. Look at this. Yeah. Anyway, where were we? When a skincare regimen goes off the rails, just use this shit. Just use Sukin. That's pretty good, I think. I don't know. I got recommended it by a friend. It's very expensive, so I wear that. I don't. Anyways. Ultra estrogen to become a vampire. So why is this guy taking estrogen? Yeah, to look younger, pretty much. Oh, excuse me. Is this a tough creepypasta? No, it wasn't. Speaking of, I just found a Twitter account called Turfs Being AGP, which I'm apparently already following. Alright, I didn't realize I was following that account. Whatevs. And here's the thing. This is fucking annoying me. My following count is down to 1311 again. What is going on with this? Oh, goodness. Use the blue pill. Take the blue pill or the red pill. I don't care which one. Just take one. Take one of the hormone pills. Get on the hormones. Everyone should be on HRT. Unironically, everyone should just be on HRT. Whatevs. Oh, goodness me. Do I look at the Are the Cis Okay subreddit? What do we think? It is depressing. I'll leave it up to you folks. Here we go. Ah, the cis okay. It's just reposting memes that transphobes post on social media. And they, you know, the transgenders tend to comment on them. If I went to the doctor asking for E if I was cis to look younger, they would say no. Yeah, true. And this guy's actually dispensing HRT. Excuse me. It's because docs are, 1, stupid, and 2, don't want to get sued. I know if I become a doctor one day, I don't want to get sued. Take either the blue pill or the red pill. They are rectal ones and phallically shaped. Looks like we've got a few people who want us to look at... And this meme, honestly, at the top of the subreddit, has been posted so much, I'd be surprised if you've never seen it before. We'll wait and see what the results of the poll are. But, you know, basically, the gist of the subreddit is like, there's a subreddit called Are the Straights Okay? Which generally makes fun of, you know, straight people posting memes about the gays. Oh, them homosexuals. Aren't they strange? This is the same kind of thing, but for cis folks. There is a poll at the top of chat, or there should be at the very least. Got 7 votes yeah, 2 votes nah. A lot of docs won't even prescribe you proper HRT doses. Yeah, that's tricky, isn't it? I am just trusting my endocrinologist because she's honestly a very understanding person. If you can't see it, I'm not sure what to do there. It's gonna be... I think it's gonna be a yeah vote. We got 12 yeahs, 2 nahs. Pardon? Oh, really? I've got a book for my next endo appointment, which is sometime in November. Anyways, I think it's the 12th of November. I've got to organize that soon. So I can go talk to my endocrinologist about hopefully progesterone. Fingers crossed. Colin Powell just died of COVID-19. Who's Colin Powell? That name's familiar. Who's Colin Powell? I know there was like, what's it called? An MP in the UK got stabbed recently and died. Former US Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State? Anyway, is that my roommate? Yes, that's my roommate, quote unquote. Oh, former Secretary dies at 84. I mean, dies at 84 of COVID. It could have been anything. He could have cracked his ankle and died of that at that age. And they were roommates. Soiled has good reputation for advocating for W's Iraq War. Oh, okay. Her close friend, Sappho and her friend. Colin Powell, who served as Secretary of State during the presidency of George W. Bush and led the first Gulf War as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, has died at age 84 of complications from COVID-19, his family confirmed. First African American to serve in both of those senior posts died Monday morning, they said, adding he was fully vaccinated. Okay. We want to thank the medical staff at Walter Reed National Medical Center for their caring treatment, they said in a Facebook post. We have lost a remarkable and loving husband, father, grandfather, and great American. I mean, I'm going to put this out there, and I'm not trying to spread COVID denialism, vaccine denialism, or anything like that. And I don't know if this is complications from COVID-19, not necessarily from vaccination. But my grandmother got her first dose of the vaccine. It knocked her around quite a bit, and shortly after, she wasn't with us anymore. So I think there might just be, like the effects you might receive from the vaccine in that circumstance at a certain age. Still worth it to get it done, of course, but it is one of those things where it's like, obviously, the vaccine is not going to be 100% effective. And, even in this circumstance, like he was fully vaccinated and yet still got COVID. Helped cover up the My Lai massacre. There we go. You could kick over from normal yeah, exactly. Like, at that age, I would not be shocked by anyone at that age carking it, honestly. There's very little you can survive in terms of illness at age 84 and beyond, It's when you're on your way out. It's a pretty rough age. My grandmother was, 91? When she got her first dose, and then, yeah, so, like, honestly, could have been anything. But even then, the timing kind of lines up. It's still strange to think she's not here anymore. Aw, Ziwa. Are you allowed to do that? Is that a conflict of interest?
Hello.
Oh, goodness. At 88, even disco fever might do you in. Okay. Oh, goodness, Bun. Of course. So, drag queen comedian Flame Monroe just came out in defense of Dave Chappelle, and news outlets are chomping at the bit to call them trans when they ID as a drag queen. Of course. Yes, grandmother just passed away before the country went into shutdown. That's unfortunate. I'm so sorry. Where are we? Wear your masks even if you have been vaccinated. I'm definitely keeping my mask on as soon as I'm fully vaxxed. There is no way in hell, until like cases are at 0 for 6 months straight, I'm not taking my fucking mask off. I don't care if they don't mandate it. I'm leaving that shit on. I'm buying more cool masks just so I can get around wearing cool masks all the time. Anyway, that aside. Let me just quickly look at something. I just had a thought occur to me. And I mean, the people who, honestly, I'm just going to throw this out there right now. The people who are so against the idea of wearing masks must be such a bunch of fucking losers. Right? And the reason I say they must be such a bunch of fucking losers is because why wouldn't you want to look like a Mortal Kombat ninja all of the time? That's just fucking lame. Can you imagine? It's like you're being told by medical professionals to wear a mask. Sub-Zero wears a mask, and he looks sick. And I mean, when I say sick, I mean sick as fuck. He's cool, like not even just because he's Sub-Zero. And you're telling me these losers out here are like, I don't want to wear a mask. It's like, okay, you can be one of the lame characters, like Kung Lao. What? I can't say that. Masks are great for dysphoria. I'm gonna ride this as long as I can, yeah. You forget you're wearing one. You find out when you're in the shower. Fully vaxxed, the mask rules were removed several months ago. You still wear your mask. Exactly. No matter what way you do it, it's like it's got to be a good thing. You know, it's protective. Why wouldn't I want to look like a cool bandit from a western? Exactly. Hell yes. You're so used to wearing one. Oh, goodness me. In Australia, Mortal Wombat. I mean, Kano is our Aussie rep in Mortal Kombat, honestly. It's pretty fucking cool. Want to be one of the lame characters just because he could shapeshift. Won't take it off before being back home. Yeah. Only issue with masks is my facial hair tends to get musky under there. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, that would be rough. Hello, wannabe girl. How you going? Should we look at the memes? Should we look at the memes? While we wrap up for the night. Stay over there! I must admit, I'm kind of disappointed with the "Get over here" line in the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. It was cool to have the line happen, but it didn't sound like Scorpion. It was cool, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't Scorpion's voice. Like, I get why, but it was a cheap knockoff. I loved the movie though. Honestly, I hope we do get a sequel because I want to see Johnny Cage. I want to see Johnny Cage, you know. And obviously the character of Cole was supposed to be the stand-in for the Johnny Cage character, because I think Johnny Cage is a bit too much for a protagonist in this day and age. So they needed someone who was a little bit more level-headed, a little bit more relatable, so they had to isekai it, basically. Even though it wasn't really an isekai, but, you know. Come here! Alright. Should we look at some other Sissoke memes as we wrap up for the night? Let's just take a look at some of these. You've seen this one. I'm sure you've seen this one, honestly. You've probably seen this one before. All trans women are like this. Comment explaining the confusion over this image down below. I'm sure you've seen this. What's your problem, you little bigot? Haven't you seen a lady pee before? Mommy, that's not a lady. Yeah, mommy, that's not a lady. This speech bubble coming from this one. Shh, we aren't allowed to speak the truth anymore. Okay, so.
3 different art styles.
Yeah, 3 different art styles on the characters alone. The toilet is just out in the open. Who installs a toilet just out in the open like that? They're apparently inside the women's toilets, but the women's sign is on the inside of the door. Why are there no stall dividers? Like,
It's a single person bathroom. These people barged in.
yeah. Maddie just said it's a single person bathroom and these people just barged in on this person using the toilet.
Oh, it wouldn't be single person.
True. But anyway, this whole comic makes literally 0 sense. It honestly comes across as some, kind of, what's it? It's not a restroom, it's an IKEA. It comes across as honestly like, I'm sure you have seen those comics that like creationists make, or like just hardcore Catholics make about people who don't believe in God, or just the jokes like, have you ever seen Dane Cook perform stand-up? Holy shit, cringe. Like the amount of jokes they will make about, oh, what do you mean you don't believe in God? That's the kind of energy this comic has. Chick tracts, yes, exactly. That's another good example. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I see this particular meme. Is like these people who've got this really strict, rigid worldview that is simply unchanging, and their illogical perception of things refuses to allow them to take in new information. Hello, Ginger Bay. Hello. Yeah, why is the toilet marked women on the inside? Chick tracts are fucking amazing. We should go through some of them someday. Yes, exactly. They come up with things to get mad at. What was I going to say? There was another point I was going to make on this. I've forgotten. Chick tracts. So there's a guy called, what's his name? Chick Tracts. Like that. And he's this Christian comic strip artist. And he made a bunch. Jack Chick, that's him, yeah. And you just go to literally chick.com, I think. You're a jacked chick. I am a jacked chick. Yeah, we could go down that road. No, this isn't. Is this it? Chick Publications? I think this is it. The literal slogan is Chick Tracts Get Read. The slogan he's got. is chick tracts get read. Yes. And it's stuff like this. I don't know what this is about, honestly. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but there's a lot of really hyper-Christian stuff that he... that and Ben Garrison. Yeah, Ben Garrison. Basically, Chick Tracts. Jack Chick is very similar. Although, Jack Chick tends to draw storylines, you know. Famously kicked off the war against Dungeons & Dragons. There we go. Scratching my leg. Anyway. Don't use men's or women's restrooms. Use the disabled. That's understandable. I completely understand that viewpoint. And honestly, like the point of my main concern with the whole bathroom debate is that the issue could be solved if we just started facilitating individual restrooms. Obviously, we can do it. Disabled restrooms exist, and they're usually a single-person stall. Right? So why don't we just do that for toilets in general and get rid of the whole gendered toilets thing to begin with? I don't see what the problem with that would be. Gendered spaces were what forced you out of the gym. Honestly, this is why I like Anytime Fitness. I don't know if it's the same way you are, but Anytime Fitness actually does literally what I was just saying. At least the ones I've been to, they've got individual change room toilet things. So it's just a nice sized cubicle you can go into. That's a single person space with a shower, a toilet, a sink, enough room to change clothes. It's great. It's fantastic. And it's like, they could do that everywhere. They could literally do that everywhere. And they're not gendered at all. They're not even disabled ones, because they've got disabled handles next to the toilets, which that should just be the standard. There shouldn't be disabled toilets. They should just have stalls in every public place, gyms. Pardon? Yeah, don't take that out of context. In gyms, shopping centers, any other public space where public toilets are found, they should just be an all-inclusive individual space. I don't know why they're not. Anyway. Because you are taking away their identity. Listen, if your identity is the toilet you go to, you've got other issues. I'm sorry. Anyway, there's a big thing on this subreddit, Are the Cis Okay, about the R-Hole Up subreddit. And this is basically the R-Hole Up subreddit. When trans people... that's literally it. There are so many memes cross-posted from R-Hole Up. And there's one here that I'm not going to click on because it's NSFW. Actually, let me check. It might be okay. It might be okay. Oh, okay. I think it's okay. I think it's alright. You don't see anything. But, good morning. You can interpolate the rest of it. And then, yeah, again, it's from the R-Hole Up subreddit. Okay. Very clever. Oh no, a girl with a penis. How horrifying. I wish I was... I know, right? She's fucking hot. Anyway, and then this one, this was already posted here. R/no rules is a fucking flaming trash can. The fact that this has 3 awards and 779 outvotes. And it's basically just I think it's one of Vince McMahon's, like, Gigatron videos or whatever they're called. You know, when he's coming out. And it's just him playing with money. It's just a highlight reel of Vince McMahon playing with money. And CEO of suicide after inventing transgender, right? And I think it was either this thread or there's another thread where someone's posted the actual video. But the alt-right will fester anywhere that isn't hostile to them. And somebody made the very good point that... let me see if I can find it. Let me just see. No. Okay, it must be in another thread. There was another thread where they actually posted the video of this. And the No Rules subreddit and other similar subreddits to it where they're just like, they have this no holds barred, you can post anything you want kind of thing, is a very good example of the tolerance paradox. Where they'll say, oh, there's no restrictions here, there's no rules here, we tolerate everybody, everyone's allowed to post, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately what it leads to is really, really intolerant viewpoints dominating that space. So it's a good little microcosm of how fascism works, basically. if you start to tolerate fascistic viewpoints, those viewpoints will eventually start to spread like a virus and take over everyone else or kick them out, basically. So the No Rules subreddit is a, good little example of that. Hello, Ren. How you going? Vince McMahon transitioned. Vince McWoman. Anyway, Anyway. And then this one. The tolerance paradox. Yeah, the tolerance fallacy. So, like, the idea around a perfectly tolerant society is everyone should be able to express their viewpoints, which is the narrative that is constantly posted anytime someone's called out for being, bigoted, generally speaking. Is like the people who are being called bigoted are being, like, their response is, oh, well, I have free speech. I should be able, like, you're being an intolerant bigot by telling me I'm not allowed to say this and that and the other. Yes, Vince McWoman. Anyway. But yeah, to have a tolerant society, you have to be tolerant of intolerance. You have to be intolerant of intolerance, sorry. So you have to exclude certain viewpoints. Ultimately, there's no real way to have proper free speech, because if you continue to facilitate a tolerance of intolerant viewpoints, those intolerant viewpoints have the opportunity to spread and fester. And yeah, like I mentioned, the No Rules subreddit is a good example of this. Also, the Political Compass memes subreddit is similarly the same kind of thing. There, everyone can post whatever they want because it's just political compass memes. But then you tolerate those intolerant authoritarian viewpoints, and eventually they will spread and they will take over and they will dominate. The classic framing is you can't yell theater in a crowded fire. Yes, exactly, Ren. Free speech isn't free from consequences. What's this? Flag of fucking losers. Can you send that to me in chat? Oh, that's fucking amazing. I think I saw that one.
Probably.
Gonna change my name to Clara McWoman.
This is my favorite subreddit. Oh, nothing. I don't need to look source bullshit. We're just posting.
Yeah. And just post in chat. There we go. Yeah, this is a good one. And by the way, you should join the Vexillology Circle Jug subreddit because it's very trans friendly. Flag of fucking losers. PCM, basically. Let me see it. Where is it? Oh yeah, top of all time. You've been nearly following me for a year, Ren. Ms. Sylveon. No, hang on. The American flag, but it's a TBT player. The flag of China if it were a fascist capitalist state pretending to be socialist. Flag of the Taliban, except I drew multiple cocks. US flag, but the ratio is 1776 to make it more patriotic. I can't find the one you were talking about. It's alright, we'll come back to it. We'll find it later. It isn't 9 months and 4 weeks, just 10 months? Yes, pretty much. Anyway, let's look at this one. I love this one because this is perfect. My experience on Twitter, everyone's experience on Twitter. Unlike you snowflakes, I'm not so easily triggered. Pronouns in bio. Like they look like. I mean, I don't know how that meme is supposed to read. I don't like. I'm assuming I'm reading this from the perspective of this is a reactionary who hates pronouns in bio, and then they rage at pronouns in bio. That's my experience generally. I'm assuming that's what they mean. You know, they're always going on about, oh, stop being so offended, stop being so triggered, oh, libtards. And then they will jump at the chance to point out you have your pronouns in bio. That affects no one, by the way. You having your pronouns in the bio literally just doesn't affect anyone, except the way people respond to you. It's hilarious how often I've seen this.
You are too kind.
Oh my goodness, Yarrow. Thank you for gifting a sub to Sammy. There we go, thank you. The flag of Argentina, but I added 2 pink lines to make it look cooler. It's all, honestly, solace. It's all projection. It's all projection. When pronouns happen, that blows up the Hindenburg. admin for Facebook group, and one question is just to fill in the space of blank lives matter. Blank lives matter. Anyway. And the sheer number of people who are so upset by this question is so fucking funny. That's hilarious. Yarrow, thank you for gifting a sub to Ren, you entire legend, you. Thank you so much. 267. Fuck. Like, I shouldn't do this. But just, like, based on how much they cost in Australia at the moment. Fuck. Anyway. I'm not going to say how much that is. Anyway. I know that's over time, so that's kind of like... I've probably spent more than that on gear from Berserk in recent times. But anyway. When are you going to get to interview me again? That's a good idea. We should do that soon. We should definitely do that soon. What are you sending me? Oh, okay. You sending it in chat or in... Oh, definitely don't want to open my DMs with you on my full screen. Because there's... Flag of trans people who like strawberries, but I color picked it from Madeline's hair. Oh, that's cute. Oh, look at her. Hey, we need to get you that outfit. Anyway. Okay, so what? Okay, so more memes, more are the cis okay. Do you imagine that there are many trans women claiming to have a womb or that they have periods? I think we are sometimes too quickly to criticize absurd interpretations of what other people believe, rather than try to understand what they're actually saying. And the title is Laughs Nervously, what the fuck? Yes, some do say that. They raid the bins in our ladies for used tampons as part of their fetish, not a belief. Where the fuck is this coming from? I guarantee you this has never happened, ever, in any circumstance, unless that person in that circumstance was absolutely deranged and on a massive cocktail of psychedelics. I guarantee you, under any other circumstance, this event never occurred. That person needed to be detached from reality as much as you possibly can, or this person's projecting. Guaranteed. The cis were never okay. Congratulations on coming back to reality. What's that supposed to mean? Detransitioning back to sex at birth. Trans people do have a place in this world though, sure, but not in women's spaces and... How many pages is this? Fuck, there's a lot of them. And they're not, like, this is the issue. Is that I gotta click see full image, like Reddit. Can I just look at the whole image? Anyway. Yeah, I hate new Reddit, it sucks. And... Yeah. And sports teams and scholarships and refuges and prisons and assigned jobs and bodies. You need to fight for your own spaces, etc. That's why the LGBTQIA plus community is fighting for gender-neutral bathrooms. They are fighting for their own spaces. Everyone who can get a scholarship should, including trans people. Fight for your own toilets. I'm a woman who doesn't want men in a public toilet. Men aren't allowed to go to public toilets at all anymore. Okay, according to this person, men, stay home. Take a shit and piss before you leave the house, men. You're not allowed in a public toilet at all anymore. Sorry, this person... Pardon? Yeah, you should have gone at lunchtime. And this is the problem. Where are we? So is this... No, that's okay. That's that page. Okay. On to the next one. This is the problem. Get out of women's spaces. Go and get scholarships set up for trans sports people. That is taking a scholarship away from girls and women. Stop expecting women to stand aside. Sports scholarships shouldn't exist. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. They shouldn't exist in the first place. But anyway. They are fighting for their own toilets, as I said. I wish they had color-coded the names. And I am a girl, so I believe they should have equal rights and equal spaces in society. They get so much belittlement from cis-het people. And by the way, whoever this person is they're responding to is absolutely laugh-reacting at everything, because that's how you show you're owning them. I'm gonna laugh-react you. Haha, got 'em. Anyway, moving on to the next bit. I'll open all of these so we can go through all of them. There we go. I somehow doubt you're a girl. Women, including lesbians, get more hate from trans than the other way around. Oh yeah, sure, okay. That is why we are making a stand. They have equality. They want more than equality. How the fuck do trans people have equality, cunt? They don't have equality. Trans people still get beat up for being trans. People still disown their kids for being part of the queer community. But yeah, go off on how they have equality. And a simple look at my profile will show you I am genetically a girl. It's all projection. Thomas Edison explaining the first moving picture. I don't want men in women's toilets, so let trans men use the men's then. The entitlement that people think trans people don't deserve sports scholarships is mind-blowing. Yeah, exactly. I just personally don't know. I don't agree with the idea of sports scholarships. But anyway, I feel like scholarships should go to fields that are related to STEM, basically. Or well, not just STEM, but like actual academic pursuits. Anyway, gay and lesbian people still get beaten up. More women per capita get murdered every day than trans. I'm a lesbian. I don't appreciate creepy men telling me and others that we should suck my girl dick. That's not. They really desperately think that trans women are going out of their way to enforce their girl dick on cis lesbians. Like, no one's doing that. At the absolute worst, trans lesbians are asking to be included in events that include lesbians. That's it, because we are lesbians. That's it. No one is trying to force their girl cock down your throat. That's an image you're putting in your head. 88% never get genital surgery. Do you want to know fucking why? Should we talk about how expensive GCS is? How prohibitively expensive that procedure is? Trust me, I don't want the girl dick anymore. Well, I'm not that fussed by it, but that's beside the point. Anyway. Which leaves them as heterosexual males. They aren't interested in each other and they aren't interested in men. They aren't interested in each other? Hey, I just want to check. Maddie, have you got a cock? Don't answer. Seriously though, like the amount of trans women I've seen in relationships with other trans women, trans men, yeah, love the ignorance for T for T. They literally just don't want to accept that T for T is a thing. Cis people and trans people are equally stuck in their A-gab. I read that as a signed gamer at birth. Hey babe, nice cock. If they still get beaten up, that's not equality. Lots of people get beaten up. Life isn't always fair. Maybe we should be arguing in favor of people not getting beaten up rather than life isn't always fair. Trans being beaten up is male on male violence. What happens if a cis woman beats the shit out of a trans woman? What then? Males need to sort that problem out by making it safe for trans women to use the men's toilets. No. And this is another issue I have as someone who participated in a women's march that unequivocally stated that sexual assault in the workplace by men is a men's issue. And this is them again co-opting language that is not made for them to argue their point. You know? Then it should work the other way around as well. You can't have it one way that isn't equality. Run along. I'm not debating anything with a pigeon. Not a pigeon, but go ahead and feel one-sided. I'm like intelligent debate and I'm not getting it. No, you're getting thoroughly owned, you dumb fuck. Anyway. If this woman doesn't want to be in the same bathroom as other women, she should just not use public bathrooms. I mean, that's an option. If you're that fussed by trans women using the women's bathrooms, just don't use public toilets. I mean, I'm gonna throw this out there right now. Most of the women I talk to don't like using the public toilets. 'Cause they're fucking gross. Pardon? Yeah. It's not even about the gender thing. It's like public toilets are gross, dude. They're fucking disgusting. I want to have a shower after I use them. Life isn't fair is true, but it's more often than not used by people to excuse poor behavior. Absolutely, Duke. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I went to the public pisser the other day with my friend, and she told me afterwards that she was squatting over the seat. Like, she wasn't actually gonna sit on it, and like after the fact, I was like, "Fuck, I sat on that damn seat." Like, I literally have the equipment to stand, and I chose to sit. Why am I telling you this? Anyway. Let's see if this one's equipment I may or may not have to have a little bit of a throwback to a recent bit of Abigail Beck lore. And then another one of these things. Another one of these kind of things. Mom, there's a rapey pervert in the girls' washroom. Stop misgendering me. Why is this individual so massive? Jesus Christ. When Obama, he, the misgender was, and Trump fascism, and to protesting vaccines for the of when. What? What is that title? Yeah, what the fuck is that title? Oh. Color scheme is awful, it really is. What else is there on here? Oh yeah, a new record. Olympics, trans athletes allowed. The captain of the women's wrestling team, John Cena. Of course. Well, I should go in with the whole internet meme of, oh haha, there's nothing there, but it's John Cena. I can't be bothered with that one at the moment. But this is the thing, trans athletes have been allowed in the Olympics since 2004, and it was only this most recent Olympics where there were any prominent trans athletes. I think. Was this the first Olympics where there were actually trans athletes? They've been allowed to compete since 2004. You know. From that caricature, okay, if she has boobs, then her thing is probably not going to be that big if she's on HRT. When people call you mentally ill, so you cut your wiener off to prove them wrong. On a trans meme sub too. Oh, God. Our trans is a bit of a shitpost subreddit, though, honestly. Oh, that sub gets bombarded with TERFs trying to sneak in, of course. Do they think bad memes are just going to magically stop trans people from existing? Oh no, a bad meme about trans. Guess I have to untrans myself. Fuck. I just keep thinking about the fact that after stream tonight, I'm going to have to untrans. You know, take the makeup off and all that. Because that's what being trans is all really about. A meme. Oh god, I am now a man again. Hair dye companies after inventing mental illnesses. Very smart. What? Very super smart meme. So smart that... fucking what? Oh god, here we go. I've seen this one. John Kent's Superman will fight for climate change in support of Climate Strike Fridays for Future in this week's School Strike for Climate in an upcoming issue of his ongoing series. Next episode, he'll go transgender and fight Congress on abortion laws. And then this bit. Isn't the point of entertainment to escape reality and enjoy some free time for a little bit? What the fuck? You know they said fuck. Unless they said cunt. They might be Australian. I don't know. But that's like that's a whole thing. But this bit here is really, really dense and just fucking. Isn't the point of entertainment to escape reality? It's like, well, honestly, no. And comic books have always been a reflection on reality in some respect, anyway. But my issue with this whole thing is Superman is gonna hold up a sign at a climate strike. Superman's gonna hold up a protest sign. We already covered the fact that he's one of the most unreasonably powerful superheroes. He's gonna hold up a sign for climate change. You would think he would have a little bit more capacity to change things. Maybe he could influence certain people to change their policies using his raw, brute, superhuman strength or something. I don't know. Hopefully the fucking pod will actually post tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Pardon? Oh, let's talk about the Pope. Actually, on this subject, let's talk about the Pope, which is a bit of a weird thing to say, but you know. Let's talk about the Pope. This is interesting. That's Fauci. We're not going to talk about Fauci. Superman turned back time by flying around the Earth really fast. He could change the damn climate himself. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of reductive when you take a character as overpowered as that and say, oh, he's going to hold up a sign to protest climate change. Okay. There was a tweet posted, right? And I saw a bit about this. If you saw any Catholics freaking out about Pope Francis being on a roll yesterday, this is what they were referring to. And then we have this post here by Le Pope Francis. I guess I'm just going to have to do it like this. I ask all the great pharmaceutical laboratories to release the patents, make a gesture of humanity, and allow every country, every people, every human being to have access to the vaccines. There are countries where only 3 or 4% of the inhabitants have been vaccinated. In the name of God, I ask financial groups and international credit institutions to allow poor countries to assure the basic needs of their people and cancel those debts that so often are contracted against the interests of those same peoples. In the name of God, I ask the great extractive industries, mining, oil, forestry, real estate, agribusiness, to stop destroying forests, wetlands, and mountains, to stop polluting rivers and seas, to stop poisoning food and people. I'm pretty sure when something tried to destroy the Earth, Superman punched them. Keep that energy, Clark. Well, this particular Superman with holding up the protest sign is John Kent, the young, the son of Clark Kent. In the name of God, I ask the great food corporations to stop imposing monopolistic systems of production and distribution that inflate prices and end up withholding bread from the hungry. In the name of God, I ask arms manufacturers and dealers to completely stop their activity because it foments violence and war. It contributes to those awful geopolitical games which cost millions of lives displaced and millions dead. In the name of God, I ask the technology giants to stop exploiting human weakness, people's vulnerability for the sake of profits without caring about the spread of hate speech, grooming, fake news, conspiracy theories, and political manipulation. In the name of God, I ask the telecommunications giants to ease access to educational material and connectivity for teachers via the internet so that poor children can be educated even under quarantine. In the name of God, I ask the media to stop the logic of post-truth, disinformation, defamation, slander, and the unhealthy attraction to dirt and scandal, and to contribute to human fraternity and empathy with those who are most deeply damaged. In the name of God, I call on powerful countries to stop aggression, blockades, and unilateral sanctions against any country anywhere on Earth. No to neocolonialism. Conflicts must be resolved in multilateral fora such as the United Nations. We have already seen how unilateral interventions, invasions, and occupations end up, even if they are justified by noble motives and fine words. This system, with its relentless logic of profit, is escaping all human control. It is time to slow the locomotive down, an out-of-control locomotive hurtling towards the abyss. There is still time. So yeah, that was an interesting thing that popped up today. Let me see if I can see if there's any more in the thread. How worse would it be if Batman was going to protest climate change? Like Batman, you are the richest person in the DC universe. You are the cause of climate change, Bruce. And he just kept going. There's even more. Do you know what comes to mind now when, together with popular movements, I think of the Good Samaritan? Do you know what comes to mind? The protests over the death of George Floyd. It is clear, you think this is not real. It is clear this type of reaction against social, racial, or macho injustice can be manipulated or exploited by political machinations or whatever, but the main thing is that in that protest against this death, there was the collective Samaritan who is no fool. This movement did not pass on the other side of the road when it saw the injury to human dignity caused by an abuse of power. The popular movements are not social poets, but also collective Samaritans. The Vatican has enough money to combat those things, you would think. You would think. Here's the full text of the Pope's speech. Oh yeah, he's also a UBI guy. A basic income, the UBI, or salary, so that everyone in the world may have access to the most basic necessities of life. It is right to fight for a humane distribution of these resources, and it is up to governments to establish tax and redistribution schemes so that the wealth of one part of society is shared fairly but without imposing an unbearable burden, especially upon the middle class. Generally, when conflicts arise in this matter, it is the middle class that suffers most. Let us not forget that today's huge fortunes are the fruit of the work, scientific research, and technical innovation of thousands of men and women over generations. So apparently it's a speech. Oh yeah, Pope Francis is still yike. This is the same Pope who bans Catholics from using condoms, thereby creating AIDS catastrophe in Africa. Yeah, exactly. Still a yike, but so this is from the Vatican website. The full text of the Pope's speech. Video message of the Holy Father Francis on the occasion of the Fourth World Meeting of Popular Movements. Holy shit! Jesus, cunting Christ. And there's, I guess, a video? I guess, yeah, there's a whole video on it. There we go. It just, yeah, there we go. So there's a whole ass thing there. How long does it go for? 1 hour and 26 minutes. Yeah, hard pass. I'm not watching that. At the very least, it seems like there's a little based. There's a little bit of based in the Pope, but not too much. Because, you know, still anti-trans, still facilitating HIV. But, yeah. Weirdly humanist in some regards, though, which is what you want. I'd like some humanism. That'd be good. Can we have some humanism? Anyway, we can have a little based as a treat. Cats can have a little based. Little A based. Cats can have little A based as a treat. Anyway, I don't know. It is quite late. It's 12:15. Let's go find somebody to harass politely. Let's go find somebody to pester nicely, gently. That authentic Christianity would need to be revolutionary and humanist by default. Agreed. Agreed. Let's see here. Plotsky's live. What's Plotsky doing? No More Heroes 3. Namaroff is playing Hellblade. I'm not sure if I want to play Hellblade. Not sure if I mean, I've seen enough of Hellblade that I've spoiled it for myself. Glitchcraft is playing Doki Doki. Annie Crevice is playing Dead by Daylight. Let's go say hi to Annie. I like Dead by Daylight enough that I can watch it. You know, even though I'm probably going to raid and run. Because A, I need to pee. B, I want to wash my girlfriend's hair. So, you know, because that's a cute thing that we can do. Anyway, let's all go say hi to Annie. He's playing a bit of Dead by Daylight. Bernie 2028, Genesis 1. God, how old's Bernie going to be in 2028? Fuck. Nah. Everyone please say, what? What? Okay, we're going to do this, and then for the raid message, we're just going to... No, not that. What? Copy and paste this in the chat if you want to. I'll do a sub version of this using our own emote, but you know, if you want to copy that raid message, we can post it. Pardon? Hugs. Okay. Hugs. Quick hugs before we go. All right. Follow my socials if you've not already. Oh god. That was weird. All right. Good night, folks. Be kind to yourselves and each other. Thank you, babe. There's those. Be kind to yourselves and each other. I love your faces. And I'll see you when I'm looking at you.